in their homes are known. And by the way, this happens to people that aren't high profile.
Exactly.
But it also is a reminder that all of us need to maybe have a discussion and or a conversation about what's going on in securing our homes. Charlie, I was robbed at gunpoint when I was 21 years old, right? And I still remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being a young child and seeing and having something like that happen. There was the stuff that you see on the movies, right? And that's scary enough, but to happen in real life. So my prayers goes out to Sherm and his fam.
Okay. Chief Scott coming up from 9 to noon here on KIRO News Radio.
Coming up, we'll have national headlines. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, your home for the John Curley Show. Weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m.
The Hatfields and the McCoys, right? We used to win like 51%. Of course, you had to care. But when they do the redistricting and everybody's able to win with supermajority in there, and you don't have to listen to the other side. What you have now is the hard right that gets elected with 70% of the votes, the hard left getting elected with 70% of the votes. They don't have to negotiate at all.
Streaming live on your smart speaker.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves. Whatever you like, we'll help you create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, and expense than a tear-out. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Call today and let one of our pros come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, the reverse mortgage expert. Steve, mortgage rates have been dropping this year. How could that help seniors struggling to stay in their homes?
Lower mortgage rates mean seniors can now get more money from their equity with a reverse mortgage. You can pay off your existing mortgage, have extra money to help with today's high cost of living, or believe it or not, you can even buy a home with a reverse mortgage. There are many uses, and best of all, you have no mortgage payments the rest of your life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Enjoy your drive home with the John Curley Show.
Address the real problem, which is people come from other states to come to Seattle because we spend billions of dollars on the homeless.
Weekday afternoons from 3 to 7 on KIRO News Radio.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Norm. Norm, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
Spending too much money on insurance, and it just kept on going up higher and higher and higher. And this last time I did the First Mark Challenge.
So they were able to save you some money, Norm?
Oh, yeah, at least $2,000 a year.
What?
At least.
Wow. You ever feel like, man, I wish I would have taken that First Mark Challenge earlier?
Yes. I mean, $2,000 I could have saved a year, over probably 4 or 5 years. Wow.
How would you describe their customer service?
Fantastic. Beyond expectation. Call First Mark. They treat you like a real person, that they have your best interest in mind.
Norm did it. My family did it. You got to do it. And it's totally free. Go take the First Mark Challenge. See how much money they can save you like they did Norm, and how much better your coverage will get to. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory I get to talk to. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance. They work for you.
CBS News Brief. The Associated Press reports actor Val Kilmer has died of pneumonia at age 65. He earned his wings in 1986's Top Gun.
You are still dangerous. You can be my wingman anytime.
President Trump unveils his latest round of tariffs today, and CBS Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady tells us how certain companies are getting ready.
Some companies that sell non-perishable items actually went ahead and they stockpiled items in their warehouses in order to try and keep prices as low as possible for as long as possible.
CBS News projects Democratic-supported Susan Crawford wins the Wisconsin Supreme Court race.
As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world.
At stake was a continued liberal majority on the court. CBS News Brief, I'm Michael Toscano.
For your KIRO News Radio forecast, we should see a few spotty showers today. It'll be very similar to yesterday with mostly cloudy skies, lows in the mid-50s, and a few showers. Right now, it's about 43 in downtown Seattle. Coming up, we speak with Representative Chapalo Street about the recently announced state budget and its impact on your taxes. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
Spring in Washington. It is practically synonymous with rain. And of course, rain is made up of water, which unfortunately can wreak havoc on your home and your crawl space. So if rain or groundwater makes its way into that crawl space, it can create all kinds of problems, including structural damage or toxic mold. You don't want either of those at your house, trust me. It's Mike Salk here, and that's why you call Crawl Pros. Crawl Pros will keep your crawl space dry. They can install a sump pump and drainage and reroute that water back out and away from your home. They'll take care of any mold that's been created and even address any plumbing issues you may have in your crawl space. Don't take the risk. The best way to learn if you have any water issues is to have Crawl Pros do what they did at my house. Visit your home and inspect your crawl space for free. Yes, Crawl Pros will go where you don't want to. So if you're worried at all about water damage, mold, insulation issues, critters, anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com to schedule a free inspection.
The markets and the economy will change, but you should always know what you can rely on from your financial advisor. I'm John Ramsire with Baird Private Wealth Management in Seattle. With deep planning and investment expertise, Baird's financial advisors have guided individuals and families through changing markets for more than 100 years. And in all that time, our guiding principle has never changed. Our clients come first, always. Discover the Baird difference at rwbaird.com/Seattle.
Feel positive and boost confidence with a full head of hair. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. They addressed my bald spot, and the results have been absolutely life-changing. And get this, Dr. Parango and his world-class team at Advanced Hair were recently awarded 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 425-449-8185, advancedhair.com.
This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio. And here's your host, Charlie Harger.
Hey, this is Charlie, and just a brief housekeeping note before we play this interview. We recorded it immediately before Governor Ferguson came out yesterday and said he would not back either the Senate or House budget proposals. So while the House budget proposal is still standing, it's important to know that the governor, for now, does not back what the House is putting forward. The state legislature is busy at work in Olympia, with lawmakers spending a lot of time on the state budget. During this session, we're speaking to both Republican and Democratic lawmakers, and we're hearing a bunch of different viewpoints. Joining us today is Democratic Representative Chapalo Street of Washington's 37th District, which stretches from Beacon Hill to Renton, basically. His day job is as a software engineer, and he's big on getting tech knowledge to everyone in his district. I want to start, though, with the state budget, Representative Street. We are getting a lot of different opinions on the text line. A lot of people saying they wish Democrats would take it a little easier on tax hike proposals. Your counterparts in the Senate are out with a proposal that would be the biggest tax hike in state history. Where do you stand on this?
I get to serve as the vice chair of the finance committee, so I've done a lot of work in this tax area, and I'm very proud of the proposals that we put forward as a House. I think we have first done the job of looking at any efficiencies we can find in the budget. Are there programs that we can cut, make sure that we are spending what we need to spend, and then go forward and look at how do we raise revenue. We know that an all cuts budget would be very tragic for many people in Washington State, and real cuts impact real people. Tax increases also impact real people and businesses as well. And so we want to be very mindful about how we do that going forwards.
One of the Republicans I spoke to, Drew Stokesbury, the House Republican leader, he asserted that the state budget could be balanced simply by not implementing plans that had not yet taken effect, and it wouldn't be noticeable by a lot of people. Is that true?
That is a strategy that we have taken to help ameliorate the budget deficit. So, for example, we passed a very popular program that expands early childhood education across the state. We first did that and expanded it to a set of people that already have it, and there was a plan to expand that even further. We are proposing that we delay that so that we don't take on that additional cost. There's a lot of very popular programs that we've introduced in the last 4 or 5 years, like the Working Families Tax Credit. That's a tax cut to some of the lowest income individuals in Washington State. As I mentioned before, we have the early learning and childcare. We have the most generous scholarship program in the country for first generation people going to college. These are very, very important programs that are popular and have been used by people more than we were expecting them. So to me, that shows the popularity of these programs. With that popularity comes a cost. And so, as you mentioned, we are looking at delaying expansion of those as a way to keep costs down.
Keeping costs down, I think about low-income folks, and those are often the people who can least afford an increase in gas prices. We have the Climate Commitment Act along with fuel taxes that are used, the fuel taxes specifically used to fund transportation, maintenance, improvement, stuff like that. And it looks like we're going to see those costs go up. What kind of thinking are you coming to when it comes to how we address fuel taxes and in the context of the climate?
Yeah, the fuel tax increase is one of the options on the table, and that is something that I think everyday Washingtonians feel in their pocket, and that's something that we do with great reservation. That said, the Climate Commitment Act money is to mitigate the impacts of climate change, and one of the things that we want to do as a legislature is keep our promise to Washingtonians. When we implement some source of revenue and say that it's dedicated for that, we would like to keep it there. That also you have to note that some of the lowest income folks are the ones who are least able to react to the impacts of climate change. And so making sure that CCA money goes towards that does impact those low income Washingtonians. So while a gas tax increase is an option, that is something that we take very seriously, and we're going to have to work with the gas tax alternative for that in the future anyway. Regardless of this budget deficit and the issues in the transpo budget, gas tax revenues are declining because we are getting more efficient vehicles, and that's a good thing. We want to continue that trend. However, we also need to find a way to fund our transportation projects, and so I think that will be one of the very interesting quandaries that we have to solve going forward for funding our transportation budget.
One of the big issues that you have been involved with is different aspects of criminal justice reform. Give me an idea of your proposals and where do things stand with that?
Criminal justice reform is something that's near and dear to my heart, as well as many others in our caucus. An example that I think overlaps with criminal justice reform, a bill that I've pushed, but also is just great road safety, is listening to our law enforcement community and hearing them say that they need more officers and they are being asked to do too many things, which I completely agree with. And so if they are being asked to do too many things, one of my bills around traffic safety just asks them to prioritize the most important traffic stops. So those would be things like drunk driving or dangerous driving, as opposed to doing things like enforcing expired tabs or maybe one broken headlight or taillight.
Okay. What is the agenda for you as you get ready to wrap up this legislative session? What are the big things that are your priorities, and what should we be watching for?
As everyone knows right now, the budget is a huge thing. And so understanding what revenue we're going to pass to balance the budget, understanding what cuts we're going to make to our existing spending will be very important. There's also a ton of other good bills going through. And like we talk about some of these bills that are more politically charged, but there's a lot of great bipartisan work. So for example, in the House and Senate, we have what we call companion bills. One of my bills as a Democrat has a Republican companion bill about lead in cookware. There's another one around EV battery recycling. I'm really excited to find these types of bipartisan issues which make a difference to our community, but we can work in tandem with.
Representative Chapalo Street, Washington's 37th. Thanks for your time today, and we will stay in contact.
Thanks for having me.
Charlie, back with you. Again, that was recorded right before Governor Ferguson said he would not support either the Senate or House budget proposals.
For your KIRO News Radio forecast, we should see a few spotty showers here and there, but today will be very similar to yesterday with mostly cloudy skies, lows in the mid-50s. Right now, it's about 43 in downtown Seattle. Coming up, Seattle's Morning News with Charlie Harger. I'm Katrina Gashard. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
For decades, KIRO News Radio has been your go-to source for reliable news.
Traffic got worse in Seattle last year.
Seattle drivers squandered over $1,100 in lost time and productivity just sitting in traffic.
We're here to help guide you through the complexities of today's world, offering insights that allow you to see the bigger picture.
I want to dig into some of the numbers to just show you how much our transportation needs are being ignored and underfunded.
Trust KIRO News Radio to keep you informed and connected.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
Chris Domine is a husband and a father. Chris is an athlete. Chris is even an Iron Man. But 10 years ago, Chris was facing a very different story because his kidneys were failing.
Basically, the doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant and if you don't do dialysis, you are going to die.
Fortunately, Chris received a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor.
You know, your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
More than 100 million people in America are registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. People of every age and ethnicity, because they believe it's the right thing to do. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Stay informed and entertained with Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
We're all friends and we hang out and we get to chit chat and have fun. And the most important member of that friendship group is the audience.
You want to build something that you want to be a part of.
Jake and Spike, weekdays noon to 3 on KIRO News Radio.
Hey, Brock Ewart here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. The weather is warming. The sports are moving outdoors, Shannon. Maybe time to take care of that lawn and pull the old lawnmower out. Is it a time where you get a little busier as the weather warms?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. You know, what we know, particularly in the Puget Sound, we have these cold, wet winters. The weather changes, the sun comes out, and everybody wants to rush outside and do things. And I'm telling you, that's great, but you got to take time, listen to your body. You got to prepare your body for those activities. You don't want to go too fast, too soon. So warm up, stretch, make sure you have flexibility, a little bit of conditioning, because if you're conditioned and ready and prepared, those activities outside are going to be
so much funner, if that makes sense. You're an athlete yourself, Brock. You know how important warming up is.
Oh, I like funner. I think they would tell you more fun, but I kind of like funner. And that's exactly what IRG is. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. Remember, that's irgpt.com.
Is your roof ready for more spring showers? If your roof springs a leak, Valentine Roofing has you covered with our Leak Stop Guarantee. We'll stop a leak in your old roof for free until the new one is safely installed by our best-in-class craftsmen. But don't wait for a roofing emergency. Schedule your free estimate now before you have the headache of dealing with a leak. With our spring priority scheduling, we can get your roof replacement started within just 3 weeks. For all your roofing needs, call Valentine Roofing at 206 Roofing today to schedule your free estimate.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces, and trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rierecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit legacyg.com. That's legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Learn about improving your home's comfort while making the air cleaner and healthier and reducing your carbon footprint. Call the comfort people. Go to homecomfortalliance.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
Is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The big days arrived for President Trump.
This is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. I call it Liberation Day in America. April 2nd is going to be Liberation Day for America.
After touting reciprocal tariffs for months, he's expected to announce them at a Rose Garden ceremony this afternoon. The president says they could bring in trillions of dollars in revenue. Many overseas, including Brits, are bracing.
Free open trade creates growth, creates economic prosperity, creates employment, and this is a move in the opposite direction.
A big disappointment for the president and Elon Musk, who spent upwards of $20 million on the Republican race for a state Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin. Brad Schimmel lost to Democrat-backed Susan Crawford, whose victory will continue the court's 4-3 liberal majority. UVA political analyst Larry Sabato.
The reason Musk is so important is because he has become a symbol of the Trump administration. So after spending himself over $22 million on this one Supreme Court seat, it's going to suggest that Musk maybe should take a lower profile in future elections.
A Hollywood heavyweight is gone.
I'm the Lizard King! I can do anything!
Val Kilmer, who played Jim Morrison in 1991's The Doors, has died. He also starred as Lieutenant Tom Iceman Kazansky in Top Gun. Film expert James King.
The thing I'll remember about Val Kilmer on screen is just how cool he was. I mean, it's no surprise that one of his most famous roles was Iceman in Top Gun, because he did often have that kind of icy, cool demeanor as a leading man.
He later returned in Maverick, the sequel. By then, he'd lost his voice after he was diagnosed with throat cancer. His daughter tells the AP Val Kilmer died of pneumonia. He was 65. New studies suggest taking statins can lower your risk of dementia. CBS's Vicki Barker.
South Korean researchers tracked more than 500,000 people who had not been diagnosed with dementia, studying their levels of LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, over the years. The result?
Low LDL cholesterol was associated with 26% reduced risk of dementia, and statins help even a little bit more.
Neurologist Tara Spires-Jones didn't work on the study, but she says health systems may start prescribing statins protectively as a result.
New evidence medical costs are out of hand and Medicaid cuts haven't helped. CBS's Michael Wallace.
11% of people surveyed by Gallup and West Health say they could not afford health care and medication in the past 3 months. That's the highest level since the survey began 4 years ago.
Dow futures down 303, NAS futures off 214. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Governor Ferguson says he doesn't support either budget plan from his fellow Democrats in Olympia. That story coming up. First, we check the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk with Chris Sullivan.
Morning, Charlie. We're off to a really rough start for those of you coming down out of Snohomish County. We've got a 5-mile backup on southbound I-5 trying to get between Arlington and Everett. The crash at 529 there has been there a better part of the last hour. It's over on the right-hand shoulder, and we've got 40 minutes from Arlington into Everett. That's a 25-minute delay. Once you get through that, though, the rest of the drive isn't too bad. Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, both running right around 35 minutes. Coming the other direction, Olympia to Tacoma's nice and easy. We got a 35-minute trip there. Looking for a crash right north of the Fife curve because things have kind of gone all red there really quickly. Plan on about 16 minutes to get you up to Federal Way, and then Federal Way to Seattle's about 40. Valley Freeway, about what you would expect. You've got about a 40-minute trip from Puyallup up to Renton, and then about 15 from Renton to Bellevue, so that's not too bad. Across the lake, we're doing really well. This report brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Through April, Lake Washington Windows paying for your sales tax, plus giving you 18 months to pay for them. For details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
At 6:04, good morning. I'm Charlie Harger. Seattle police are investigating a deadly shooting this morning in Seattle's First Hill neighborhood. It happened just a few hours ago. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch joins us live with details. James?
Good morning, Charlie. As you just said, SPD is actively working this case right now, so there are a few details we can pass along. But here's what we know. 911 calls started coming in just before 2 a.m. Gunshots and a man down near the intersection of Seneca Street and Minor Avenue. The 40-year-old victim was shot at least once. Life-saving measures were unsuccessful, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect fled and has not been found. Homicide detectives are investigating. Anyone with information should call SPD or 911, Charlie.
James, thank you. It's 6:05. Washington's governor is shaking his head at state lawmakers' plans for the budget.
I'm Heather Bosch.
Neither budget is close to one that I can sign.
Governor Bob Ferguson says both the State House and Senate budgets contain too much in taxes, and one in particular is a problem.
They both rely on a wealth tax, which is novel, untested, difficult to implement, and most importantly, for purposes of adopting a sustainable budget, will face an immediate challenge in court.
The House and Senate are each proposing budgets of about $78 billion over 2 years. It's a record in state spending that relies on a record amount of taxes.
There was quick reaction from the House Republicans.
I've been saying that it's nice that we have a governor now who lives on the same planet as the rest of us.
That's Representative Travis Couture. He is the House Republican budget lead. He says Ferguson's priorities are in line with what his party and the people have been saying for years.
What they want is a budget that lives within its means, reduce the reckless spending, and no new taxes.
It's 6:06.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio. And now, here's your host, Charlie Harger.
Good morning. Wednesday, April 2nd. We are midway through the week. Sully is in studio with me. Good morning, Sully.
Morning.
And we have somebody that will be joining us on Monday. Have you heard these announcements?
No, I have not.
Okay, we have a co-host who will be joining the show Still very top secret right now.
Wow,
We can't say who it is.
Okay.
No spoilers, Sully.
Yeah, okay. Well, good. Well, let me know when you find out.
Yeah, but this is going to be a great new addition to the show. This is a long time Seattle news person who is joining our team.
Well, that's great. We could use some positive news since the Mariners only had one hit last night.
Oh, man. How do you get one hit, especially with that from Logan Gilbert last night? He had, 10 strikeouts?
Yeah, we're averaging 2 runs a game.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, maybe more of those
Against
torpedo bats. Yeah.
Against the Tigers and the A's. It's not like the Yankees or the Astros.
They'll turn it around. They always do in the middle of the season. They'll turn it around.
Just enough to grab us back in and then disappoint us again.
It's The Godfather Part 3.
I know, 5 games in and we're already like, 6 games in.
Well, coming up on this hour of the show, we are going to be speaking with CBS correspondent Weijia Jiang. She'll break down what President Trump's Liberation Day announcement will mean for tariffs on foreign goods. Plus, News Nation's Kelly Meyer will explain who will be hardest hit by price hikes. That's on the way. This hour, Seattle's Morning News is sponsored by American Crawl Space and Pest Control. King County has a new executive. Sworn in yesterday, Shannon Braddock is the first woman to hold the office. After 16-year incumbent Dow Constantine resigned to take the helm of Sound Transit, she says she'll put out a plan for the 200 days she expects to spend on the job.
My goal is to really keep stability in place, to keep moving forward the priorities that this council and Executive Constantine had set forth.
But Braddock will not run in the general election in November. Seattle City Council goes on the record reversing any previous efforts to defund the police. Members passed a non-binding resolution expressing support and appreciation for first responders, including cops. The council's end goal is addressing next steps to close out federal oversight of the SPD. This new city council has adopted 14 pieces of public safety-related measures since 2024. The Kent City Council voted to approve stay out of drug areas or soda zones last night. KIRO 7 TV's Dee Dee Sun has details.
There was about an hour of public comment before the ordinance passed. It was approved as part of the consent agenda with almost a dozen other items all in one single vote.
Our experience has been this. Our bigger challenge is getting people to accept help. Again, fentanyl does not allow for that to happen.
The move was controversial. Opponents are worried the ordinance will fill jails and make it harder for people to get help. Seattle and Auburn passed similar rules last year. Right now, there is no word yet on when police will start enforcing those new zones in Kent.
Quick thinking by managers at a local fast food restaurant may have prevented a workplace shooting. Deputy Carly Capetto with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office says the managers found a loaded gun in an employee's backpack after learning he planned to shoot a coworker.
When managers searched the backpack, they did, in fact, find a loaded gun with an extended magazine.
The suspect claimed other people had given him the gun, but police say the surveillance video proved otherwise. He now faces attempted assault and stolen firearm charges for the March 18th incident. A suspicious pickup truck in West Seattle led police to stolen drugs, IDs, and a suspect wearing ballistic armor. Officers responded after neighbors reported the bullet-riddled truck on Monday. They arrested a 34-year-old man who tried to run away. Inside the stolen vehicle, police found Xanax, mushrooms, meth, and multiple stolen credit cards. WashDOT says they are back on track for the Ship Canal project. KIRO News Radio's Nate Connors spoke with WashDOT yesterday.
Originally, this project was to begin in March, but in January, WashDOT announced a sudden budget shortfall would postpone this project until next year. Spokesperson Tom Pierce explains the budget snafu.
We had a budget set for the project. When we established the budget, we thought the funding was sufficient. However, as we got into the project, seeing what the work was going to entail, they determined that we would need more money this year.
When those funds weren't readily available, that's when this project was put on hold. But in order to get back on track, WashDOT will implement a scaled-down version this summer, bringing northbound I-5 down to 2 lanes between July and August. More info, including my interview with Tom Pierce at mynorthwest.com. Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
A 13-year-old boy is in the hospital after a hit-and-run crash in Sequim Monday night.
I just hope that you can find it in your heart to turn yourself in and give us closure.
Colton's mother, Sherry Teschel, tells KIRO 7 TV he was airlifted to Harborview.
He has a fractured pelvis and he has a fractured skull They had to rebuild the bone around the brain and relieve the pressure that was in there.
Sequim police say they're working with the Clallam County Sheriff's Office and State Patrol to find the driver and the vehicle. It's 6:12 now, and let's get a check on weather. Brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. KIRO 7 pinpoint meteorologist Nick Allard is here. Nick, it looks like today is kind of the transition day before we get a little nicer.
I think that's a pretty good way to look at it, because what you'll find today, it looks very similar to yesterday, with some convergent zone rain this morning, and then you'll look for that to stick around through the first half of the day. I expect around lunchtime it tapers off, and then you just see a few spotty showers moving through. I do not think it will be very wet this afternoon, but we are going to see at least a few showers. So we'll look for temperatures getting from the 40s now into the low 50s this afternoon. We'll call it partly to mostly cloudy. You'll see sun breaks for sure. A lot of that already in the South Sound. And then just a few spotty showers. But the first half of the day, from around just south of downtown north to about the Skagit, Snohomish County line, and then over the Kitsap Peninsula around Lake Bay and Allen, Tahuya, you do have some showers. That holds through midday. It tapers off after that, and then just a few spotty showers. And that's about all, with low clouds and fog tomorrow morning. It'll be a chillier morning, and then increasing sunshine getting to the upper 50s and lower 60s. We're pushing mid to upper 60s and lower 70s then for Friday and for Saturday with beautiful sun. Then you get more clouds Sunday, and I think maybe pockets of light rain to start, but I think you see rain increasing as the day goes on, especially later in the day and into Monday, and then we start next week wetter. But you get a few days with some sunshine. You get a few days in the upper 60s and lower 70s, and like you said, you're transitioning today from just a few pockets of showers to a whole lot of goodness. Maybe even, dare I say, a bucket of goodness. Maybe I'll even say my passion bucket of goodness is overflowing.
Okay, well, we have a bucket of traffic on the way.
Oh, it's not good out there in Marysville.
Let's head to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. Wave for Nick to steal your thunder, Sully.
Okay, yeah, well, I got a major crash there on I-5 South around 5. Oh, wait, you don't want me to do it?
No.
Okay, fine.
Hey, you stick to Tahuya.
Please, that's all I want to do.
Marysville is mine.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, at the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk, we do have a mess up in the Marysville area, about a 5-mile backup still on southbound I-5. As you make your way down from Arlington through the Marysville, Everett area, we've got this crash still over on the shoulder right there at 529, the exit there to Marysville. We've got a 35-minute trip from Arlington into Everett. That's a 20-minute delay. So let this try to clear out a little bit. It's also kind of wet up there, too, so the weather conditions aren't exactly ideal. After that, you've got about a 35-minute trip from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue. Want to thank my Cornfeld Law Hands-Free Highway Helpers, letting me know that we do have a little issue over on the left-hand shoulder heading up the Fife Hill, coming up from the Port of Tacoma up the hill. It's over on the left shoulder, not blocking the HOV lane anymore. About a 15-minute trip to get you from Tacoma to Federal Way, and then Federal Way to Seattle's about 40 minutes. Valley Freeway, not too bad either. 40 minutes from end to end, and then under 20 from Renton into Bellevue. The Lake Bridges are fine. Everywhere else is just starting to see the commute wake up. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. Search Seattle Sports on YouTube and click subscribe, and you'll get fresh video content daily.
And at 6:15, we head over to the news desk with KIRO Newsradio morning editor Katrina Gashard.
Hey, Charlie. Washington is now part of a multi-state lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy. Washington attorney Nick Brown said $11 billion in critical public health grants to states were abruptly terminated. Brown said our state stands to lose more than $59 million, adding if the funding isn't restored, important local health programs could be dissolved. A 22-year-old woman from Maple Valley has advanced to the next round of NBC's The Voice. Lucia Flores-Wiseman performed Benson Boone's Slow It Down on Monday night.
So slow it down, take them now. We're too young to drown.
As you know, Boone is a Washington native. He's from Monroe. Flores-Wiseman will compete in the playoffs with the rest of the top 20 artists next week.
A lot of Western Washington in that one, huh?
There's talent.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Katrina. It's 6:16.
This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio. And here's your host, Charlie Harger.
Today, all eyes are on the White House as President Trump prepares to unveil his highly anticipated Liberation Day tariff announcement this afternoon in the Rose Garden. Joining us now is CBS White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. Good morning, Weijia. And what's the latest we're hearing about the scope and scale of what will be announced?
Well, good morning to you and good morning to everybody. It's great to be with you.
So the White House and President Trump have been extremely disciplined about not revealing many details ahead of this big announcement. We know the president likes to build up suspense, especially when it comes to policies that he really cares about. And so at 4 p.m. Eastern Time in the Rose Garden, we expect to hear details about reciprocal tariffs. So all we know so far is that as soon as he announces them, the White House says they will go into effect immediately. We also know that Trump has said the U.S. is going to be a lot, quote, nicer than the countries currently are to us. So basically, these are nations that currently tack on a fee to American exports. And now there's going to be some kind of a tariff imposed on all of their imports into the U.S. But we don't know exactly what countries, and we don't know what the rate is going to be. It is expected, though, that the countries that have the biggest trade deficits with the U.S. will certainly be impacted, like China, Switzerland, the EU, Japan, South Korea. That's because the president has said time and time again he wants to level the playing field. It really annoys him that there is a discrepancy, in some cases a really big one, meaning that we take in a lot more products from that country than that country takes from the U.S. So, the president is really billing this as a huge opportunity to reset the American economy, to have manufacturing booming. The problem is that there's so much uncertainty. We don't know in the meantime, until we get there, what the cost could be in terms of rising prices or supply chain disruption. So there's a lot we don't know.
So among the guests we're hearing about, and this happens at 1 p.m. Seattle time in the Rose Garden, among the guests are union leaders and members. What should we read into that?
Well, Sean Fain, as an example, who is the president of UAW, is not exactly a robust Trump supporter, but he has come out and he is making public appearances saying that this really is important to the manufacturing company. One criticism is that it's going to take years for American companies to get up to speed and move all their manufacturing back to the U.S. But Fain says that's not true because in many cases, these plants are not at full capacity, so they're ready to bring in more employees. They're ready to staff up. They just need the company to do that. So he is optimistic that these tariffs are going to be a huge step for workers. We also know that rank and file auto and steel workers will also be joining the president as guests because he is trying to make this case that you got to look at the big long-term picture and what this could mean for manufacturing in the U.S. But economists say you have to also factor in the lag time, and in the meantime, what that's going to do to disrupt not only the U.S. economy, but the global economy. They also say they are not positive that these tariffs are going to bring in the billions and billions of dollars that Trump is insisting they will.
We're speaking with CBS White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. Detractors are saying this could lead to a trade war, and trade wars are not good. What are you hearing about that?
Well, we really don't know exactly what the response is going to be from the countries that face these new tariffs, right? We do know that some of America's biggest trading partners, China, Japan, and Korea, have already said that they're going to come together in a robust response. So that could mean even more tariffs on American exports. And so if those countries say, wait a minute, now you have all these extra fees on American exports, there's a good chance they say, let's go to another country and see what kind of prices that we can get from them. And so there is a concern, especially from farmers, that those goods will not sell as quickly. And so, that's why economists warn against this tit-for-tat tariffs war that could really spiral, and we don't know when it could end. Now, it is important to note that the White House says, what President Trump is like. He loves a good phone call with a foreign leader. He loves a good deal. So they are leaving room for negotiation and possibly even a pullback of tariffs.
All right, Weijia Jiang, you've got a busy day in front of you. Stay hydrated, and we'll stay in touch as we follow whatever happens with this tariff announcement, 1 p.m. Seattle time. Thanks, Weijia.
Well, I'll be here. Thanks for having me.
It's 6:21. We head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk now. Sully's watching the roads for us.
And we've got a really rough drive coming out of Snohomish County. It's not going to be easy for you folks coming down out of Smoky Point. We've got about a 4.5 to 5 mile backup still on southbound I-5 getting through Marysville because of a crash just right there at 529. So that's leaving us with a significant mark. We've got about a 35-minute trip from Arlington to Everett. That's a 20-minute delay. The cars are still over on the right-hand shoulder with the state troopers there, so it's going to be a long time before they kind of get this thing fixed up. And because so many people are kind of trapped up there, the drive from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue is not terrible yet. We're looking at about 41, 42 minutes for either one of those drives. We did have a little crash on northbound I-5 right around 272nd as you made your way up out of Federal Way. It's over on the right-hand shoulder, kind of on the ramp more than anything. Overall, it's about 45 minutes now from Federal Way to Seattle. Still losing a little time up the hill out of Fife just to the south of that, but not too bad. We had a little fender bender in the HOV lane that's over on the left shoulder. It's only 15 minutes from Tacoma to Federal Way, so that puts us at about an hour to make it from Tacoma to Seattle. The Valley Freeway is about what you would expect. Heavy brake lights there at Highway 18, a little bit merging in at the north end. Overall, under 45 minutes, though we are starting to add a little bit more volume there at 18. Same with the S-curves. They're starting to act up a little bit. Renton to Bellevue running at about 22 minutes now. Lake Bridges are fine. 18 looking really good over Tiger Mountains. 16 hasn't quite woken up yet between Port Orchard and Tacoma, and Olympia to Tacoma is only 30 minutes. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Pockets of rain this morning fade to a few spotty showers this afternoon. Highs will stay in the low 50s today, but a big warm-up starts tomorrow. Sunshine, temps into 60s, 70s possible by Saturday. Rain returns late Sunday or Monday. Right now, it's cloudy and 45 in Seattle. Seattle police are responding to a deadly apartment shooting. We'll have the latest on that in just a moment as Seattle's Morning News continues this Wednesday morning.
KIRO News Radio, your home for G and Ursula, 9 to noon.
Former Seahawk Richard Sherman says his house was robbed at gunpoint recently with his family inside. Thankfully, no one was injured.
Imagine your children being in a situation where armed gunmen come inside of your home. I will never forget as a 20-something-year-old being robbed at gunpoint. I can only imagine what it would be like being a kid.
Streaming live on your smart speaker.
Hi, this is Keith Dashafi, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Are you ready to enhance your home with stunning, energy-efficient windows and doors? At Pella, we offer top-quality products with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. And right now, we're offering an amazing deal. Enjoy 12 months with no interest and no payments, or get 40% off qualifying installs. My team is dedicated to helping you every step of the way. Visit PellaPNW.com to schedule your free appointment today. That's PellaPNW.com.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder. An equal housing opportunity builder.
Paid political announcement.
We live here in Washington. I travel all over the state for work.
Affordable short-term rentals help us stay together and make Hazel feel at home.
Now Olympia is considering a huge tax increase on short-term rentals.
Pricing us and other families out, since more than half of short-term rentals here are used by Washingtonians.
Costs on everything are going up.
Please tell legislators not to make our trips more expensive too.
Paid for by Airbnb helps our state thrive. Host PAC.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
Well, here in our region, it's really common for homes to have damaged insulation or even no insulation at all in their crawl space or attic. Well, in the winter, that'll make your home cold and drafty. And in the summer months, it can turn your home into an oven. It's Mike Salk here, and utility companies have special incentives right now to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated, including a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Yes, they will cover up to 95% of the cost. And if you're anything like me, you love the idea of somebody else paying to improve your home, add value to it, and save you money along the way. How good does that sound? Don't wait. Call Crawl Pros to learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free, and then what energy rebates you're eligible for. If you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with zero down, zero payments, and zero interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth. If you're 5 to 10 years from retirement, you do not have the time to deal with a market downturn.
With Mark Stimson and Casey Elkins.
It's important that you know what the rules are, because if you don't, you can make some tremendous decisions that could adversely affect you, and you may not be able to go back and fix them.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth, Saturdays at 11 a.m., right here on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning at 6:30. I'm Charlie Harger. Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg is in Washington, D.C. right now, set to testify before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch joins us live with a preview. James?
Good morning, Charlie. That hearing starts in about a half hour and is being called Safety First, Restoring Boeing's Status as a Great American Manufacturer. The hearing will examine steps Boeing has taken to address production deficiencies and safety issues identified in the wake of Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 incident last year. Since then, Boeing has been subject to additional safety audits and enhanced Federal Aviation Administration oversight. Washington State Senator Maria Cantwell, the ranking member on the committee, will ask the questions. Charlie.
All right, she's on that committee with Senator Ted Cruz. That company certainly under the spotlight right now. Okay, thank you, James. Governor Bob Ferguson says he can't sign either version of the House or Senate's budget proposals. He says both raise taxes too much, and he says a proposed new wealth tax would draw lawsuits.
I think it is fair to say that the courts go either way on that issue. So it is simply not an option for me, to balance a budget on a revenue source where that is the case.
The Association of Washington Business and state Republicans both oppose the wealth tax. Major construction closures are coming to the Ship Canal Bridge this summer after all. WashDOT's Tom Pierce says it's a scaled-down version of the project that was earlier postponed due to a lack of funding.
We reduced the scope of this project to focus on the Ship Canal Bridge, and that should help us to keep it within budget.
Northbound I-5 will be reduced to just 2 lanes between late July and late August. WashDOT hopes to repair and resurface 20% of the bridge this year. And even though it's reduced, Sully, that is still going to be a traffic hassle.
Disastrous?
Yeah.
Right in the middle of, Seafair. But yeah, they're trying to get around a couple of different things, including Ichiro's, I think the ceremony for him for the Hall of Fame here at T-Mobile. They're going to try to miss that. But yeah, anytime you cut down the Ship Canal Bridge. The good news is the express lanes will stay open northbound the entire time during that month-long closure. By the way, it's bookended by 2 full weekend closures of the entire northbound Ship Canal Bridge.
That is just going to be
summer weekends
harsh.
Without northbound I-5.
Yeah, maybe I'll just stay on the south end.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Stay on the south end.
You tell me to do that all the time, though. It is 6:33. Head to the Beacon Pump Plumbing Traffic Desk with Sully.
And I'm going to start in the north end as we work with this heavy backup and 20-minute delay on southbound I-5 as you work your way through Marysville, basically beginning in Smoky Point all the way down to 529. Crash still over on the right-hand shoulder. Still 35 minutes from Arlington into Everett, as I mentioned, about a 20-minute delay. A lot of people are staying over on Highway 9 and working their way down 204 to the trestle, so that's a little heavier than normal, as is the drive between Lake Stevens and Snohomish on Highway 9. After that, you've got about a 40 to 45-minute trip from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, so not too bad. Olympia to Tacoma is looking free and clear, freeway speed, 35 minutes for you guys. And then Federal Way to Seattle's about 45 minutes, maybe closer to 50, depending on how you hit the volume, right past the West Seattle Bridge. Valley Freeway, right there at Auburn, you're going to see the normal stuff, 45 minutes from Puyallup to Renton. It's not too bad of a drive. And then Renton to Bellevue is about 25 minutes, so kind of normal there. The lake bridges, though, are nice. This report brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, mechanical needs, stop freaking and call Beacon.
Morning rain in King and Snohomish counties. It'll clear into spotty showers later today. We stay cool. Things turn sunny and much warmer by tomorrow. Look for upper 60s to low 70s this weekend before rain returns Sunday night or Monday. Right now in Seattle, it is 42 and cloudy at 6:34. The opening bell brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Family of Funds. Trepidation overseas as President Trump prepares to announce new tariffs.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Officials on this side of the Atlantic are braced for Liberation Day. At stake here in Britain, $75 billion worth of exports, with pharmaceuticals, cars, and heavy machinery likely worst affected. European automakers and French luxury goods and wines also potential targets. Britain's Prime Minister says he doesn't want a trade war. The European Union says it plans retaliatory tariffs on everything from U.S. agriculture produce to Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
The tariff announcements take place at 1 p.m. Seattle today in the Rose Garden. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady has more.
Expect the unexpected. I think that's what we've learned when it comes to these tariff announcements. So they have identified reciprocal tariffs as a potential target, that meaning putting tariffs on countries that charge import taxes on U.S. goods coming into their countries. But we don't have a sense of what countries might be impacted, what industries, what products.
And on Wall Street right now, the major indexes are just kind of bracing themselves for whatever may happen. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 242 points. That's 0.58%. S&P 500 is off by 37, which is 0.6%. And NASDAQ has dropped 140 points, or 0.8%. Now a word for KIRO 7 TV. KIRO 7 News. Watch KIRO 7 News at 4, 5, and 6 only on KIRO 7 TV.
Seattle's Morning News.
With your host, Charlie Harger.
New information about the man investigated and arrested for gunning down 2 people outside a Seattle hookah bar on Sunday. KIRO Newsradio's Jillian Rafferty has been looking into this.
We've learned that the 25-year-old was already on probation for a federal gun charge and banned from possessing firearms. At just 18 years old, he was accused of getting his mother to buy guns for him, which federal investigators say he sold to gang members. But community advocates say he turned his life around. The CEO of Community Passageways, a youth diversion program, wrote a glowing personal recommendation for the suspect as he petitioned to end his federal probation early, saying the young man kept away from crime and was even leading workshops for at-risk youth. You can read the whole story on mynorthwest.com.
And we are awaiting for official charges on the suspect. That is expected to come down this afternoon. Pierce County Sheriff's deputies were called to the scene of Friday night's mass shooting about 90 minutes before the shots were fired. It started with a noise complaint at 10:45 in the evening.
There was an armed robbery call that came in at the same time, so that was given priority. At 11:45 p.m., they were dispatched to the noise complaint call, but then they were diverted to a high-risk traffic stop. This is Deputy Carly Capetto.
When you call 911 and you want something done about it, you want something done about it now.
Once deputies finished at the traffic stop, they headed to the noise complaint call at the party scene. Just 30 seconds before they got there, the shots rang out that left 2 people dead and 4 injured. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
A masked gunman robs a mail carrier at gunpoint in Spanaway and takes only the master key. It happened Monday, just before noon. Deputies say the man got away in a Kia, but was eventually located by Lakewood police and after a short pursuit was taken into custody. Here's Pierce County Deputy Carly Capetto.
The pistol could be seen in plain view under the driver's seat, along with this mask the suspect was wearing in the center console, along with some keys.
The man was arrested for eluding law enforcement and possession of a stolen vehicle. More charges are expected. Sequim police are searching for the driver in a hit-and-run crash that seriously injured a 13-year-old boy. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomibao spoke with the boy's mother.
Cherie Tischel wants to find the driver who struck her 13-year-old son Colton in Sequim on Monday night.
He was out skateboarding with his friends at spring break, so I allowed him to go out with his friends, and a car came down and just hit him and ran.
Police say it happened on West Spruce Street at 9 p.m., but the car was nowhere to be found. Tischel tells me Colton's friends were focused on taking care of him.
Held him and put his shirt around his head to hold the wound in. The other 2 kids ran to get help.
Potentially life-saving help before Colton was airlifted to Harborview Medical Center with serious injuries.
And did you hear this? ESPN is reporting DK Metcalf had asked the Seahawks for a trade multiple times before being dealt to Pittsburgh last month. Metcalf reportedly wanted to go to Houston or Los Angeles, but refused to trade to the Patriots. After all, who would want to be on the Patriots? Ultimately, Seattle sent him to the Steelers for draft picks, hoping to avoid a pricey long-term contract. So it sounds like DK was not happy for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, well. See you later.
See you later. We've got JSN now anyway. Yeah. All right. Sully, what's coming up in traffic?
Who, by the way, G. Scott says is the greatest receiver in the history of the world.
Yes,
JSN.
yes.
He'll come in and defend that, I'm sure. Because I know G's listening right now. We're going to start with the southbound I-5 drive getting out of the Marysville area. Big crash up there, so we'll break that down for you next.
This is Seattle's Morning News.
The opening bell is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
Hey, it's Charlie Harger from Seattle's Morning News. For the past few months, it's been me behind the mic, Sully keeping you moving, Katrina bringing you headlines. But starting Monday, someone very special is joining our team on Seattle's Morning News. She has been waking up Seattle listeners for decades. And now she's becoming part of our KIRO family. Who is it? You'll find out Monday morning. Seattle's Morning News, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on KIRO News Radio.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
6:43, we head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk now with Sully.
And we are still struggling in through the Marysville area, back up to 40 minutes now from Arlington to Everett. About a 25-minute delay, all because of a crash right near 529. Had one of my Cornfield Law hands-free highway helpers telling me don't send anybody to 529. We just had a bridge lift there. So it's pretty ugly getting out of the Arlington area. Plan on big-time delays. So once you get through that, though, it's not too bad. I mean, Everett to Bellevue is about 50 minutes. Everett to Seattle about 45. Most of the brake lights there, of course, are away from Linwood. Coming up the other direction, we're still looking really good from Olympia to Tacoma. Only 35 minutes there. Tacoma itself's not too bad. And Federal Way to Seattle's running a hair under 50 minutes. That's actually a pretty decent travel time. Valley Freeway, 45 minutes from end to end. No surprises for you daily commuters. And then Renton to Bellevue's not quite up to a half an hour. So that's still pretty good. The lake bridges are fine. Also got a report from one of our good friends, Baxter, letting me know there is a stall before the First Avenue South Bridge on northbound 509. I can't quite see it because there's a giant DOT sign in the way between my cameras and it, but there is a little bit of a backup there. So again, thanks to all our hands-free highway helpers brought to us by Cornfield Law to keep us up to date on what's happening on the roads. This report brought to you by AAA. If snow on the road's your issue, AAA Washington's your solution. To become a member, visit AAAWashington.com.
42 in Seattle right now, headed for a high in the low 50s with clouds and occasional showers. Now let's head to the news desk with KIRO News Radio morning editor Katrina Gashard.
Hey, Charlie. We're following the investigation of a deadly shooting this morning in Seattle's First Hill neighborhood. 911 calls started coming in just before 2 o'clock this morning. Gunshots and a man down near the intersection of Seneca Street and Minor Avenue. The 40-year-old victim was shot at least once. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch will have more coming up. A man runs from deputies after stealing a chicken. It may sound bizarre, but yes, it's a true story. On Saturday, Kitsap County Sheriff's deputies say a woman reported her ex-boyfriend kicked in the back door of her Port Orchard home and yelled, "I've got Polly," before running away with a chicken, which was inside the house. Later, deputies found the man hiding in a wooded area.
Show me your hands. That's fine. Just hold your chicken.
I'm not going to hurt your chicken.
The man is facing charges of residential burglary and violating a protection order.
You know, what other stations in Seattle, in fact, in the entire Pacific Northwest, bring you stories about stolen chickens? None of them. What are they hiding?
They're just afraid of the truth, Charlie.
Yes, the chicken truth. Thank you for that important story, Katrina.
It was worth it.
Okay. 6:46 coming up. We head to Washington, D.C. as we look at what's happening at the White House ahead of the president's expected announcement about tariffs. This is Seattle's Morning News.
Spring is officially here, and with it comes some unpredictable Pacific Northwest weather. This time of year, heavy rain can be especially tough on an old roof. An unexpected roof leak can be stressful. If your roof does spring a leak, Valentine Roofing has you covered with our Leak Stop Guarantee. We'll stop a leak in your old roof for free until the new one is safely installed. And we offer this leak stop service year-round, so you're never left scrambling for a bucket on your own. But don't wait for a roofing emergency. Schedule your free estimate now before you have the headache of dealing with a leak. Our estimates are straightforward. We'll provide you with an honest assessment of your roof's condition, along with our best price right from the start, all within about an hour of when we arrive. Call Valentine Roofing today, and we can get your roof replacement started with our priority scheduling. For roof replacements, repairs, and cleaning, call Valentine Roofing today at 206 Roofing. That's 206 Roofing to schedule your free estimate.
It's clogged again.
Your drain?
Just had it cleared.
You didn't call Apollo Plumbing.
How can you tell?
Because your drain's clogged again.
So frustrating.
We can clear that drain.
That's what the last guy said.
We'll clear it, guaranteed.
He said that too.
Apollo Plumbing will clear your drain, or it's free.
Wait, what?
Apollo Plumbing clears your drain.
Or it's free?
Yep.
What's the catch?
No catch.
Fine print?
Apollo Plumbing clears your main drain for $83.
$83, or it's free?
And we'll even give you a camera inspection.
Because?
It's the best way to find what's causing your clog.
But that's extra.
Nope, included.
No extra charge?
Not 1 cent.
$83, or it's free.
All it takes is an accessible outside cleanout.
And an Apollo plumber.
No clog is safe from Apollo Plumbing.
And just like that, my main drain is...
Draining again.
How can you...
Apollo plumbers are that good.
83, or it's free.
You call, we come.
My drain's draining again.
Guaranteed.
83, or it's free.
As it should be.
Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
During Lent, treat yourself to a teriyaki salmon meal at Ivar's Seafood Bar. They start with a grilled wild Alaskan salmon fillet, baste it with a teriyaki glaze, and serve it with coconut pineapple rice and sesame ginger coleslaw. A meal for $15.99. Available in all Ivar's Seafood Bars from Marysville to Tacoma and throughout Seattle, but not in Ivar's Fish Bars at the Salmon House, Pier 54, or Mukilteo Landing. Find more information at ivers.com. Ivers since 1938.
You're listening to Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio. Here's Charlie Harker.
6:49 Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us. President Trump is set to announce his Liberation Day tariff plan at 1 Seattle time, aiming to reshape U.S. trade agreements. Joining us now is Kelly Meyer from News Nation, who is following this story. We aren't getting a lot of details, Kelly. What are you learning about what we should expect this afternoon?
Yeah, and I'm here at the White House now. They're getting ready for this announcement today. Everybody keeps going around and saying Happy Liberation Day, as the White House is calling it, and the president has dubbed it. He's going to make this announcement this afternoon around 4 p.m. Eastern. Notable, that's after the markets close. And he's calling the event, quote, Make America Wealthy Again. We don't know much of the details surrounding this event. Much of it is still up in the air, though the president himself says he made up his mind a long time ago. And also the White House press secretary telling us that these will go into effect immediately as soon as they are announced. There are some that we are aware of, like the auto tariffs, the 25% tariff on the imports, the foreign imports coming in. We know that's going to take effect at midnight tonight, and then on the auto parts themselves, that will come on May 3rd. But a lot of uncertainty here, and not just with the tariffs, but what this means for the American people, what this means for our allies and adversaries alike, and what it means for the president politically, because we're already hearing Republicans on Capitol Hill, some of them pushing back and speaking out against the president unleashing these tariffs.
And just to be clear, it's not the foreign countries that are paying these tariffs. It's the companies that are importing the goods and ultimately the American consumer, right?
Exactly. So they are going to put these, what they're calling reciprocal tariffs. So what the president has been saying is, if you charge us, we'll charge you. So they're essentially saying whatever you charge us, we'll charge back. He has floated that he's going to be, or has suggested he's going to be nicer than people may think. So he might not go as high as people might think, but he did say these will be reciprocal. We also don't know how many countries these tariffs will be on. It may not be on every single country. So we're waiting to see just how many countries this will impact today. And like you said, on those companies, and then be on these imports coming in. He's hoping to see, and the White House is hoping to see, more investment in the U.S. because of this, and more U.S. manufacturing. They were been posting a lot of made in the USA stickers, made in the USA tags, that kind of thing. But there is still the question of, will American consumers have to, kind of pay the cost for this?
We're speaking with News Nation's Kelly Meyer. And Kelly, I know that you said this announcement is being made after the close of the markets today. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are wondering whether or not this will have a major impact. The market's bracing for whatever impact this may have. We don't know yet. Depending on what he says, it could send them one way or the other. And this doing this announcement after they close, you could see how they close for the day. He can make this announcement, and then that pushes it off a little bit longer to find out. So that will be interesting to see just the impact it has on the stock market and on, folks' 401ks, retirement accounts, all of that, and what this means for the American people going forward.
And we just have a moment left here, Kelly, but what does it look like at the White House right now? Are people generally excited about this?
So for the White House staff, they are, you go back there and everybody is wishing everybody a happy Liberation Day, and they're sharing tweets on X, posting about it. They're all very excited about this announcement. They feel as though the U.S. has been taken advantage of, is how they put it, by other countries. And they say this is time, as they say, Liberation Day, for us to get our fair share. They feel as though this is the U.S. standing up for ourselves, and that this will pay off. And we heard in the White House briefing yesterday, the White House press secretary fielding questions on this, and someone said, well, what if you're wrong? What if this doesn't work out? And she said, we're not going to be wrong.
Kelly, does it feel real yet? Does it feel real yet that your job is that you get to go to the White House every day?
It is very, very cool. I mean, I'm looking at the White House right now. I never take it for granted, and I always feel super grateful and lucky to be here every day and to ask questions on behalf of the American people. I definitely pinch myself every day, but I also just, you kind of like any job, you kind of just jump in and you get to work and you focus, and sometimes you take a moment to take in the views and kind of remind yourself and pinch yourself, but it's just been always so busy every day, so you kind of just get to work and do the job for your viewers and the American people.
All right, Kelly, look forward to hearing your update once these announcements are made. Kelly Meyer from News Nation joining us from Washington, D.C. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
It's 6:53. We head over to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk with Sully.
And we're wrapping up the hour the way we started it, with a 25-minute delay getting out of the Arlington area. 5-mile backup, 40 minutes to get you down into the Everett area, all because of this crash that's still over on the left-hand shoulder right past 529. It's trying to get better, but just not quite doing it yet. So we'll plan on big-time delays there, and you're seeing the ripple effect on Highway 9, 204, Highway 2 as well, as people are looking for ways to get around it. Once you get down through that, it's not too bad of a drive until you get to the Linwood area, and then you really start bogging down. Much worse on 405 than 5, which is not unusual. About a 50-minute trip from Everett to Seattle, an hour now, as you're working away from Everett into Bellevue, which is right about where we should be on a Thursday. Northbound I-5 is not too bad. We're actually under 50 minutes today, so a little bit of a lighter drive, maybe 2 or 3 minutes ahead of schedule, because we haven't really seen things materialize past the West Seattle Bridge as of yet, but again, it's still early. Renton to Bellevue, about a half an hour. Behind that on the Valley Freeway, we're under 45 minutes. That's good. Eastbound 512, a little heavy down the South Hill, but that's normal just before 7 a.m. This report brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Through April, Lake Washington Windows will pay your sales tax, give you 18 months to pay. For details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
Spotty showers today, especially King and Snohomish counties. Highs will top out near 50. Right now, it's 42 in Seattle. Coming up on Seattle's Morning News, new details about the Seattle hookah lounge shooter reveal a complicated past. That's on the way here on Seattle's Morning News. This is KIRO News Radio.
Jake and Spike, noon to 3.
There was a sloth 90 feet up in a tree up in Bellingham. It's a bummer they pulled this thing down. They say, we've heard the drivers were slowing down to get a closer look or becoming distracted while trying to snap a picture. Like a giant sloth, an 8-foot giant sloth.
A fake one.
Oh, he's fake.
We should have Slothy in here as a show mascot.
Bring him in.
Yeah.
We'll plop him in the corner.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
We want people to watch.
Yeah. It's like having a great-grandparent come and visit. Like, we'll stick him in the corner.
Streaming live on the KIRO Newsradio app. KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Save on a 2-night getaway to beautiful Victoria, BC with the FRS Clipper Spring Sale. Travel car-free on the Clipper Fast Ferry and stay at a charming downtown hotel. From $252 per person, double occupancy. Save during Clipper Spring Sale at FRSClipper.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Looking for the ultimate fun and dining experience? Come check out Nisqually Red Wind Casino, the South Sound's premier destination. Voted best casino, best hosts, best promotions, and best for fun. Players can always enjoy exciting monthly giveaways or get in on the action with specials and dining discounts at their casual or fine dining restaurants. Give them a shot and see why they're the best. Only at Nisqually Red Wind Casino. Your VIP here. Visit redwindcasino.com.
Bright Star Care gives you a higher standard of in-home care. For seniors, adults, and children, Bright Star Care has a home care option just for you. Call 206-777-1190 or go to brightstarcare.com/King County.
Paid political announcement.
We live here in Washington. I travel all over the state for work.
Affordable short-term rentals help us stay together and make Hazel feel at home.
Now Olympia is considering a huge tax increase on short-term rentals,
pricing us and other families out, since more than half of short-term rentals here are used by Washingtonians.
Costs on everything are going up.
Please tell legislators not to make our trips more expensive too.
Paid for by Airbnb helps our state thrive. Host PAC.
When the heat's in 11, cool AC would be heaven.
Dayandnight.net.
Beat the rush. Act now before summer, because that heat's a real bummer.
Dayandnight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead, so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Now save up to $4,600 on qualifying cooling equipment.
Dayandnight.net.
Cold is leaking and rocks are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. That's Revive, REVIBE, menshealth.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Tesla shares down more than 2.5% after word this morning sales are sinking. Correspondent Michael Wallace has our top story.
Deliveries of Tesla's electric vehicles dropped 13%, more than analysts had expected, even though it offered big discounts and 0% financing. It was the company's worst quarter since 2022. Tesla has an aging lineup. It's facing tougher competition, and it's facing backlash from Elon Musk's foray into right-wing politics.
About those politics, the more than $20 million Musk spent on the conservative race for Wisconsin's Supreme Court didn't pay off. Brad Schimmel lost to Democrat-backed Susan Crawford. CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
Crawford made a point in the closing weeks of running against the Musk money. Her victory secures a liberal majority on the state's highest court. Although mega donors aren't new to politics, this became a rejection of the world's richest man and his attempts to sway an election in a key state.
CBS News has learned President Trump will be joined by auto and steel workers when he announces reciprocal tariffs in the Rose Garden this afternoon. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
The concern is that if consumers are worried about tariffs and tariffs increase prices, increases inflation, consumers could pull back on spending.
The tariffs are set to go into effect immediately. Economists say it may take a while, though, before you see the impact. The Dow down 190 right now. Breaking news from New York, where a federal judge has dismissed a historic corruption case against Mayor Eric Adams. Judge Dale Hull acquiescing to an extraordinary request by the Justice Department so Adams could help with President Trump's crackdown on immigration. The judge has also denied prosecutors the ability to potentially bring back the criminal case after the city's mayoral election in November. The Supreme Court hears arguments today in a years-long dispute over Planned Parenthood and Medicaid. Legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
So South Carolina has tried to stop reimbursements for healthcare providers that provide abortions. And the question is whether or not that violates a federal statute that provides patients with a right to choose their provider under Medicaid as long as that provider is qualified.
Gamers on your marks.
Let's go! Yahoo!
Nintendo says the new version of its Switch console will launch June 5th. The Switch 2 will include a new chat button that allows players to talk to each other while they're at the controls and share game screens. A new Mario Kart game for the console will be called Mario Kart World. S&P's down 22 right now, NASDAQ 58. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A person is dead after a shooting in Seattle. What we're learning about the case coming up after we check the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk with Chris Sullivan.
Still no love for folks coming down out of the Snohomish County area. I wish I could get this 25-minute delay out of the way. Magic Wand isn't working today. 40 minutes from Arlington into Everett because of this crash we have right at 529. And all the other roads heading south are pretty well jamming up as well as people are looking to get around this. And then once you do, you're going to be dealing with a relatively normal day. We've got an hour drive from Everett to Seattle and Everett to Bellevue, and surprisingly a little early.
It's a reminder that, yes, it doesn't get there very often, and only when it really has to.
$15 in the express toll lane, 3 for 3 in the morning. I guess it really has to today. Looking at the Federal Way to Seattle drive, getting closer to 55 minutes now as you make the drive. Renton to Bellevue, 35 minutes. The Valley Freeway's getting closer to 50, depending on how you hit the volume, right around Highway 18. And we're looking at Olympia to Tacoma, not bad at 35 minutes. The Lake Bridges are fine. This report brought to you by D.R. Horton. With over 20 Puget Sound communities, D.R. Horton is the right home for you. Learn more at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, equal housing opportunity builder.
KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning at 7:04. I'm Charlie Harger. Seattle police are investigating a deadly shooting this morning in Seattle's First Hill neighborhood. It happened just a few hours ago. KIRO Newsradio's James Lynch is following this story and has details. James?
Good morning, Charlie. As you said, SPD is actively working this case right now, so there are a few details that we can pass along. But here's what we know. 911 calls started coming in just before 2 a.m. Gunshots and a man down near the intersection of Seneca Street and Minor Avenue. The 40-year-old victim was shot at least once. Life-saving measures were unsuccessful, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the suspect fled and has not been found. Homicide detectives are on the case. Anyone with information, Charlie, should call SPD or 911.
Thank you, James. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson is saying no to both versions of the House and Senate budget proposals from his fellow Democrats.
Neither budget is close to one that I can sign.
He says both contain too much in taxes overall, and one in particular is a problem.
They both rely on a wealth tax, which is novel, untested, difficult to implement, and most importantly, for purposes of adopting a sustainable budget, will face an immediate challenge in court.
House and Senate are each proposing budgets of about $78 billion. It would be a record in state spending that relies on a record amount of taxes. As Governor Ferguson rejects those proposals from Democrats, some Republicans are celebrating.
But I am happy to hear that Bob Ferguson is practicing some rationality in budgeting and parroting some of the many problems that we've been identifying.
That's Republican House Budget Lead Travis Couture, who says it's time for Democrats to reach across the aisle and talk more cuts. It's 7:06.
Bringing you Seattle's morning news since 1974. This is KIRO Newsradio.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 2nd. I'm your host, Charlie Harger. Sully is in the studio with me. And Sully, we're getting texts because we are making the announcement now that our new co-host joins us on Monday.
Yeah, super excited to find out who that is.
Yeah, she will be here.
She?
Oh, I gave a hint.
Oh.
Yeah. Our new co-host.
We had 3 days of training, and he still blows it off. Seriously? Man.
I mean, they will be here on Monday with a brand new person to KIRO News Radio, but I think you know them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know her.
God, 3 days of training.
Okay. I'm sorry, Sully. I've blown it all. Do I need to go back to training?
Yes, okay. Please.
Our producer this morning, Jonah Oakleaf. Katrina Gishard is keeping us updated at the editor's desk. This hour, Seattle's Morning News, sponsored by American Crawl Space and Pest Control. Coming up this hour, Treehouse CEO Don Raines joins us to talk about how the new budget proposals could have a negative effect on kids who already face major hurdles in foster care. And from credit card perks to AAA benefits to warehouse club extras, Kevin Brassler from checkbook.org joins us to reveal the perks you are already entitled to. 7:07 now on Seattle's Morning News. She is the first woman to hold the office and the first new person to sit in the King County Executive's chair in 16 years. Shannon Braddock was sworn in as King County Executive yesterday.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say how much I appreciate being here where I started my career at King County.
She was the former Executive Dow Constantine's deputy, but this job will be short-lived. Braddock says she is not running to stay in office in the November election. Deputies arrived just seconds too late to stop a deadly house party shooting in Pierce County. We're learning Pierce County deputies got a noise complaint about a crowded house party Friday night, but they couldn't respond right away because of higher priority calls. By the time deputies arrived, shots had just been fired, leaving a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old dead, 4 others injured. Investigators have charged a 17-year-old with murder. Sheriff's officials say staffing hasn't increased in decades, even though the population keeps growing. Managers at a local fast food chain may have stopped a tragedy. Deputy Carly Capetto with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office says the managers found a loaded gun in an employee's backpack.
Prior to deputies arriving, someone had told the managers an employee was currently there with a gun and was planning on shooting another employee.
And that shooting was planned on March 18th. Police say he told them someone else put the gun in his bag, but video showed he wasn't being truthful. He now faces charges including attempted assault and possession of a stolen gun. Seattle police got more than they bargained for when they checked out a bullet-riddled truck in West Seattle, discovering stolen IDs, drugs, and an armed man in body armor. Police arrested the 34-year-old suspect after a brief chase Monday. He now faces multiple charges, including drug and vehicle theft. Funding cuts at the U.S. Department of Agriculture are leading to some changes on school lunch menus in our state. Here's KIRO 7 TV's Dee Dee Sun.
One of the programs cut locally is called the Local Food for Schools program. It provided the state nearly $9 million to buy food from local farms to serve at local schools. According to the Seattle Times, 23 districts are now dropping out of the program because they can't afford it without federal funding. And all the feds are cutting $1 billion from the agency tied to schools and food banks.
7:10.
I thank the senator from New Jersey.
That is Washington U.S. Senator Patty Murray joining New Jersey Senator Cory Booker during Booker's marathon floor 21-plus hour floor speech. Booker is voicing Democrats' concerns about cuts to the legislature.
The country is so grateful for what you are doing right now because so many people are so frightened, worried, scared, and angry about what is happening to the basic values of this country.
Booker set a record for the length of a speech on the Senate floor. It clocked in at more than 24 hours. Major construction closures are coming to the Ship Canal Bridge this summer after all. WashDOT's Tom Pierce says it's a scaled-down version of the project that was postponed earlier due to a lack of funding.
We reduced the scope of this project to focus on the Ship Canal Bridge, and that should help us to keep it within budget.
Northbound I-5 will be reduced to just 2 lanes between late July and late August. WashDOT hopes to repair and resurface 20% of the bridge this year. Today, the CEO of Boeing will testify before senators on Capitol Hill. It follows last year's incident in which a door plug blew out on an Alaska Boeing 737 MAX jet and other safety scares on Boeing planes. Kelly Ortberg will testify before a Senate committee that includes Senator Maria Cantwell. That hearing is set to begin any moment now. Another tough night for Mariners hitters, managing just 1 hit in a 4-1 loss to Detroit last night. Victor Robles had a lone single for the Mariners. Detroit starter Casey Mize struck out 6 M's, while Logan Gilbert, Mariners ace, took the loss despite 10 strikeouts. The Mariners still lost last night. 7:12 now. Let's get a check on weather brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. KIRO 7's Nick Allard is here. And Nick, it looks like maybe it's a great weekend around here. I don't know, for youth baseball, especially if you're going up to Everett on Saturday.
Oh, nobody you know is doing that, right?
No, just people do that. It's a thing.
Yeah. I do love me some baseball, and my kids stopped playing it, so I do miss that. It's definitely fun. It's going to be pretty nice too. I mean, today, if you have practices or games, you have some light rain around Everett and Seattle this morning, a little bit in the Kitsap Peninsula. That rain will taper off after the next few hours, and then this afternoon you'll be more dry than wet, and then you just have some spotty showers developing late this morning in the South Sound and around throughout the day. So not a super wet day, and absolutely some sun breaks getting into the low 50s. Tomorrow it's some fog in the morning and then sunshine. I expect you'll get up to about 58 to 60, and then mid to upper 60s on Friday and Saturday, and even some lower 70s. You'll see some increasing clouds on Sunday. I do think maybe some pockets of rain early, but the majority of that consistent rain will increase throughout the day and into the afternoon and evening, and then give us some wet, cooler weather back in the 50s again for Monday and Tuesday. I was looking back the past 30 days or so. We've only had maybe 6-7 days above average. That's it. And we're going to be below average again today, but at least we get a few days of above average temperatures tomorrow and at least through Saturday.
Okay, Nick. And we're continuing to get texts to the station. Maybe you can help me out, Nick. We are not allowed to say who the new co-host is starting on Monday. Can you just make that clear to people? We cannot reveal this big secret.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Exactly.
You get a new co-host on Monday?
On Monday.
Wait, did I get promoted? Did we just become best friends?
We are already best friends, Nick.
Oh, so that means no. Okay.
It's hard to say no to your
Didn't
best
know
friends.
I was up for the job. Didn't know there was a job, but I'm sure I nailed the interview.
You're going to love this person. I'm not allowed to say her, according to Sully, because that gives too much away.
Okay. I still don't know what we're talking about, but that's okay.
Why start? It's 7:14. We head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. Sully's watching the roads.
And I know Nick's son has stopped playing baseball, but if you want to go yell at some other kids, there are people playing Little League in Everett. I still have trauma from how badly I treated Tommy over those years. I was a great
ball,
I was a pretty good baseball coach, but the coach's kid always gets it the worst because you can't yell at anybody else's kids. Looking at the drive now, we are still struggling getting out of the Arlington area. 40-minute trip because of an earlier crash right at 529. And the backup has been pretty consistent, 25 minutes there. You have a pretty decent drive until you get down to about the Everett Mall, and then it kind of bogs down a little bit, but then it's really away from Linwood. We are definitely looking at hour-plus drives from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, with 50 of those minutes from Linwood. Northbound northbound I-5 Federal Way to Seattle still rolling under an hour, but not by much. 30 minutes from South Center, 25 into South Center out of Federal Way. We do have a new stall to tell you about, northbound 167 coming out of Sumner. It's right as you get up almost to about 15th Southwest. That's putting us way behind. Hour drive now from Puyallup to Renton. That's about a 10 or 15-minute delay. And then Renton to Bellevue is a typical 35 minutes. This report comes to us from, Washington 811. If you're digging in your yard, law requires you to call 811 to avoid dangerous and costly damage. Call 811 or submit online, digsafewa.com.
At 7:15, we head over to the news desk with KIRO News Radio morning editor Katrina Gashard.
Hey, Charlie. Lakewood police are asking for your help to find a missing 19-year-old woman. Brianna Duffney is from Morton. She lives with autism and hasn't been seen since around 10 p.m. Monday. She was last seen in the Lakewood area near a Chevron gas station near JBLM. If you've seen Brianna, please call Lakewood Police. 2 new light rail stations on the east side are almost ready for riders. The extensions at Marymore Village and downtown Redmond will open in just 6 weeks. Sound Transit says it'll take 15 minutes from Marymore to Bellevue and 45 minutes from Redmond all the way to Seattle. A woman from Maple Valley has advanced the next rounds of NBC's The Voice. 22-year-old Lucia Flores Wiseman performed Benson Boone's Slow It Down on Monday night.
So slow it down, take come on now, we're too young to drown.
Boone is also a Washington native. Flores Wyman will compete in the playoffs with the rest of the top 20 artists all next week.
All right, so cool. Thank you, Katrina. It's 7:16.
Seattle's morning news on KIRO News Radio. Here's Charlie Harder.
Proposed state budgets in the legislature could deal a serious blow to Washington's foster care system, specifically the educational support programs helping thousands of kids stay on track. Don Rains is the CEO of Treehouse. That's an organization that works closely with youth in foster care. We have the Treehouse fundraiser every December here on KIRO News Radio. It's an issue that's near and dear to us. Don joins us live to talk about the real-life impact this proposal could have on kids who are already facing such hurdles in their school and life. Don, thanks for being here with us this morning. What are you seeing in these budget proposals, and why are you so concerned?
Well, Charlie, for the better part of a decade, the legislature and Treehouse have partnered to make sure that these educational supports are available to our young people in foster care across the state. And we found out last week that the Senate budget, proposed budget, maintains all of Treehouse's current funding, but the House cuts it entirely. And it's not the final word. They still have to negotiate to get down to the final budget proposal. But if we were to lose this funding, it would be about a third of our entire budget, and we would lose the ability to serve about 1,000 young people.
And we know foster kids already face higher dropout rates and more school disruptions. Losing this funding, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Absolutely. Our young people in foster care perform the worst on all of our education measures, attendance, grades, test scores, and ultimately graduation. And we know when they don't graduate high school, they face disproportionately high rates of unemployment, poverty, incarceration, homelessness, and we know that we have a solution that works. For a relatively small investment for our state, we save both a lot of tragedy for these young people and also all of us a lot of taxpayer money in the future.
People are concerned about homelessness. It is such an issue around here. I want to dial into that for a second because I've seen some really stunning numbers about what happens with foster kids and adult homelessness, especially if they don't have the interventions like groups like Treehouse provide. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We see as much as 25% of our young people will become homeless within about a year of aging out of foster care without these additional supports. And so, again, not only is it so awful for them individually, but it is also so costly and expensive for all of us.
25% of kids in foster care wind up homeless after becoming an adult. That is a stunning, stunning number, and these kids have been through so much already. It's heartbreaking. I mean, how are you guys at Treehouse feeling right now when you see proposals like this?
Well, we are feeling, I would say we're very worried, as you can imagine, but also emboldened. We believe that, these are the young people for whom the state has stepped in to become legal guardian for their safety. And we know that we have a special responsibility to them. The legislature has a special responsibility to them to make sure that they have every opportunity to thrive. We have an intervention that works. We know that all it takes is this little bit of funding. And, the other thing I think that is so powerful is that, these programs have always been a public-private partnership. The state puts up that $7.4 million each year, and Treehouse matches it with more than double that amount, thanks to all of your listeners at KIRO, all of our generous donors, individuals, corporations, foundations. This has really been a community partnership to make sure that we provide these young people with this safety net. So we think it's a good investment. We will be calling all of our legislators to make sure that they know how important this is.
And we have a lot of legislators that actually listen to this show, Dawn. If they're listening right now, what is the main message you want them to hear?
I want them to hear that we have, together for the last decade, we have built this capacity to provide these services to every young person in foster care in our state. And it would be such a shame to undo that full decade's worth of progress. We have an intervention that works. It is relatively inexpensive in terms of, preventing long-term tragedy and costs. And it's just a smart investment.
And if people listening right now, they want to do something to help, what do you want them to do?
I would love for them to either email or call their legislator and tell them how important it is to maintain state funding for education for youth in foster care.
All right. That is Treehouse CEO Dawn Rains joining us on Seattle's Morning News. Dawn, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's 7:22. We head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk with Sully.
Well, finally, for the first time in our morning commute, we've seen all of the crashes out of the way on southbound I-5, all the cars out of the way, I should say. As you work your way past 529, we still have about a 40-minute trip as we make our drive from the Arlington area down into Everett, as we are looking at still about a 25-minute delay there. So plan on a little bit of heavy commute there. And then once you get through that, you'll have a little over an hour from Everett into Seattle or Everett into Bellevue. So pretty normal Wednesday drive for you. I know I lied to everybody about 20 minutes ago and said it was Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm just already planning for warm weather. Sorry
fake
about
traffic.
that. Yeah, once again, I'm fake traffic. It's looking at Wednesday today. We have cleared the stall blocking the right lane on northbound 167 as you get past Algona just before 15th Southwest. Still have about an hour drive, though, from Puyallup to Renton, so that's not exactly great. And then 35 minutes from Renton to Bellevue is right on average. Getting up to about an hour now from Federal Way to Seattle. No real issues or anything out of the ordinary for you guys. Watch for some pretty heavy quick slowing on southbound I-5 getting away from Lakewood at 512. For about 3 minutes, we had a crash blocking two left lanes right at Gravelly Lake Drive. One of them was a semi, so it took a little bit to get them over to the right shoulder where they are now, but just plan on coming to a really quick stop after 512, and then you get out of it pretty easily. Going the other direction, only 35 minutes from Olympia to Tacoma. The lake bridges are fine. 18 over Tiger Mountain, starting to get into the act a little bit for our daily truckers, though, and daily drivers there. Nothing that you can't handle. This report brought to you by D.R. Horton. With over 20 Puget Sound communities, D.R. Horton is the right home for you. Learn more at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
You know, I'm willing to forgive the day transgression calling it Thursday, but that new co-host, I hear she can be pretty mean about that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I will plan on penance ahead of time and maybe make up a list of things I can do to get back into this person's good graces.
I believe
once I find out who this person is.
I believe cookies are also always an option.
Oh, very good.
Okay, just so you know.
All right, I'll make a note of that.
We're going to have sprinkles today. A high of 54, overnight lows in the 40s, and then we start to warm up by Saturday. We could be talking upper 60s to low 70s. It's 42 right now in Seattle at 7:24.
This hour is brought to you by Beacon Plumbing.
Sure, your coffee wakes you up. But starting Monday, Seattle's Morning News brings you something even stronger. A brand new co-host joins the team. She's a familiar Seattle voice you know, trust, and probably already love. Who is it? Set your alarm, grab that coffee, and find out Monday morning on Seattle's Morning News. Only on KIRO News Radio.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. You know, Dave, I love sport. You love sport. And I love sitting with coaches and hearing their game plan each and every week. What are the keys to a First Mark Insurance game plan?
It's a great question, Brock. I think there's really 3 keys to a great game plan with us. Number 1 is we want to make sure that our clients have the correct coverage for their unique specific needs. So that's number 1. Do you have the right coverage? Number 2, once we have the right coverage, are we getting that coverage at the most competitive price possible? And then last and not least would be, once we have the right coverage at the most competitive price, are we providing world-class service to those customers so that when they need it, they have someone there that's got their back?
Those are the 3 keys to a First Mark Challenge victory. And man, am I so glad Molly and I took the challenge. We are one of so many through a decade plus of being a First Mark Challenge victory. You can too. Just simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com, firstmarkinsurance.com.
I'm Macy House with Baird Global Investment Banking. In today's markets, global financial capabilities aren't worth much without personal attention to your priorities. Baird Banking, Research, and Private Equity professionals are located across 3 continents, sharing more than investment expertise. As employee owners of our firm, we all have a personal stake in your success, here in the Pacific Northwest and around the world. Discover the Baird difference. Visit rwbaird.com/Seattle.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. At Les Schwab, we've been changing the tire game for more than 70 years. Our Go the Extra Mile service means more hustle, less hassle. We design our own exclusive tires to give you more tires made for the road you drive, less compromise. All backed by America's best tire warranty included with every tire we sell. We're talking more unbeatable tire warranty, less charging you extra, like the other guys. It's why you get more from less. Book an appointment at leschwab.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers, believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on mynorthwest.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Learn about improving your home's comfort while making the air cleaner and healthier and reducing your carbon footprint. Call the comfort people. Go to homecomfortalliance.com.
KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. It's 7:30. I'm Charlie Harger. Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg is in Washington, D.C. right now, set to testify before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch joins us live in studio with a preview. James?
Good morning, Charlie. The hearing is being called Safety First, Restoring Boeing's Status as a Great American Manufacturer. The hearing will examine steps Boeing has taken to address production deficiencies and safety issues identified in the wake of Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 incident last year. That's the one where the door plug on a Boeing 737 MAX 9 blew out mid-flight. Since then, Boeing has been subject to additional safety audits and enhanced Federal Aviation Administration oversight. Here's Tacoma aviation attorney and Boeing expert Mark Lindquist.
Would like to see is the same thing I think everyone wants to see, which is Boeing manufacturing planes we can trust again. People want to be able to walk on a Boeing plane and feel safe.
Washington State Senator Maria Cantwell is currently asking the questions. Charlie?
Thank you, James. It's 7:31 on Seattle's Morning News. Governor Bob Ferguson says he can't sign either the House or Senate Democrats' proposed versions of budgets because they contained too many taxes. Ferguson yesterday warned lawmakers more federal budget cuts are coming, meaning the state needs to be prepared to do more with less.
And as a state, I just feel it's my responsibility as a governor to make sure, while we have time to make decisions, that we prepare ourselves for a time when we are in non-session, right? There will be many months where we are in non-session, and things are going to be happening at the federal level. Take that to the bank, literally and figuratively. That's going to be happening. So it is imperative that we make some difficult decisions now to put ourselves in as strong a position as possible.
House and Senate Democrats are each proposing budgets of about $78 billion. It would be a record in state spending that relies on a record amount of taxes. Your summer drive on I-5 likely to be jam-packed around Seattle as WashDOT prepares to repave the Ship Canal Bridge. The department's Tom Pierce explains.
The work is going to require 2 weekend-long closures, and then we're going to have northbound I-5 reduced to 2 lanes for 4 weeks.
Closure starts in late July, a scaled-down version of a project that was postponed earlier this year due to a funding gap. Pierce says the new plan will keep WashDOT within budget. 7:33 now, Beacon Plumbing traffic desk time. And Sully, this is just going to be a headache over the summer.
Yeah, big time. Anytime you reduce the amount of lanes of traffic on I-5, it's going to be tough getting in and getting out. So especially during those big weekend events and whatnot. So we can look forward to Revive I-5 again. But then maybe you won't be able to see the express lanes from the top deck of the Ship Canal Bridge, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, looking down, there are gaps in the pavement. Not fun.
No, not at all.
How's traffic now?
Yeah, it's not fun either. Definitely out of Snohomish County. We're still working with about a 40-minute trip from Arlington into Everett because of the long-term crash that we had right at 529. All the cars are gone, but we still have that 25-minute delay from Arlington into Everett. Then a pretty decent drive till you get to Linwood, and there you hit the buzzsaw again. You've got about an hour and 10, hour and 15-minute drive from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue, and all of that that is really down past Shoreline and Bothell. After that, it's not too bad. Renton to Bellevue is up to 40 minutes now. The Valley Freeway still running over 50, even though we have cleared the stall as you got up into Pacific. Then it's heavy in Auburn, the typical stuff there. Southbound I-5 continues to struggle away from 512 in Lakewood. We had an earlier crash blocking a couple of lanes at Gravelly Lake. It's out of the way. Federal Way to Seattle, about an hour. The lake bridges are doing really well. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your local favorite sports content on the FM dial, 97.3 HD2.
This morning's rain shifts to scattered showers this afternoon with highs stuck in the low 50s, but warmer, drier days are coming. Upper 60s to low 70s expected by Saturday. Clouds return Sunday. Rain likely on Monday. Right now downtown, we have mostly cloudy skies and 43 at 7:35.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio. And here's your host, Charlie Harder.
KIRO News Radio has now confirmed the suspect in Sunday's double murder outside a hookah lounge in Seattle was already on probation for a federal gun crime. Reporter Jillian Raftery has this story.
The suspect was busted by the ATF when he was just 18. Investigators say he used his mother to buy guns, which he then sold to gang members. He got 5 years probation, much less than the standard guidelines. Prosecutors said he was an example to the community for turning his life around and working to help other young people do the same. Now 25, the man was petitioning to end his probation early, but with possible murder charges, his federal probation could be revoked, which would mean 10 years in prison.
You can read Jillian's entire story on mynorthwest.com. A 13-year-old boy is in Harborview with a fractured pelvis and a fractured skull after a hit-and-run crash in Sequim Monday night. Colton's mother, Cherie Tichelle, tells KIRO 7 TV he was skateboarding with friends behind a Safeway along West Spruce Street. It was around 9 in the evening.
His passion is football, and so I just am afraid that he's going to get that taken away from him. And I don't know what's going to happen.
Sequim police say they're working with the Clallam County Sheriff's Office and State Patrol to find the driver and the vehicle. A masked man robs a mail carrier at gunpoint in Spanaway Monday afternoon and takes only the master key. Deputies say the man got away in a stolen Kia but was eventually located by Lakewood police and after a short pursuit, taken into custody for eluding police and possession of a stolen vehicle. Pierce County Deputy Carly Capetto says a robbery charge will likely be added.
Charges for the new robbery will be forwarded after the vehicle search warrant is complete and the gun, keys, and evidence can be recovered from that vehicle.
The mail carrier was not injured. Can't make that. The Kent City Council approves stay out of drug areas or soda zones Tuesday night. KIRO 7 TV's Dee Sun has details.
In total, there are 3 zones near public transit and public buildings. The plan follows the model used in Seattle. So here's how it works. If someone has a drug-related charge or conviction, a judge can ban them from these areas. If they're caught committing other crimes in these zones, they could face up to a year in jail and fines up to $5,000.
Goes to the mayor for her signature. No details yet on when police will begin to enforce the new zones. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services office in Seattle, which covers Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska, has been shut down because of federal budget cuts. That's according to Congresswoman Susan Del Bene. She says this basically removes on-the-ground support that the department provides to families and organizations in our area, among other things. She says federal employees help prevent disease outbreaks, promote public health, and assist Washington residents in obtaining affordable health care coverage. The Trump administration says the cuts are meant to reduce government waste and spending. 7:38 now. In a show of force, China has sent a dozen warships and over 70 military aircraft in drills encircling Taiwan, which has a democratically elected government. CBS News' Anna Corin has more.
In a show of force, China sent a dozen warships and over 70 military aircraft in drills encircling Taiwan. China's foreign ministry said the exercises are, quote, a strong deterrent against separatist forces advocating for Taiwan independence, calling Taiwan's president, Lai Ching-te, a parasite. This is not the first time. Back in May, a simulated attack on the territory included live-fire missile exercises. But today's move comes at a pivotal moment for the world economy, just a day before President Trump's anticipated tariff announcements. President Trump has recently said that an invasion of Taiwan would be catastrophic.
So it would have a big impact if something should happen with Taiwan.
At the end of his Asia tour on Sunday, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the U.S. would ensure a credible deterrence across the Taiwan Strait. And Taiwan is preparing, holding its own war drills in the critical waterway last month, simulating a Chinese invasion, calling China the world's biggest troublemaker. For CBS Mornings, I'm Anna Corrin in Hong Kong.
It's 7:39. Where do we find traffic coming up, Sully?
It's still that drive getting out of the Arlington area, still not moving through Marysville, so we'll break it down for you next.
That's coming up on Seattle's Morning News.
Sure, your coffee wakes you up. But starting Monday, Seattle's Morning News brings you something even stronger. A brand new co-host joins the team. She's a familiar Seattle voice you know, trust, and probably already love. Who is it? Set your alarm, grab that coffee, and find out Monday morning on Seattle's Morning News. Only on KIRO Newsradio.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
DayandNight.net.
You got a pipe with a leak, water's reaching its peak.
DayandNight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net.
The throne's not too well, and ooh, does it smell?
DayandNight.net.
Have a clogged drain, water heater issue, or plumbing repair, and wish you could get a second opinion? Maybe it's sticker shock, or you'd like to know your options. Hi, I'm Bruce, General Manager of Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Day and Night will provide you with a fair and honest quote, explain all your options, and help you with the right solution. Give us a call or visit dayandnight.net. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
DayandNight.net.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
If you're wearing glasses or contacts, but you need reading glasses or bifocals now, you need to join Drs. Kopstein and King for the K2 Vision RLE live webinar this Thursday at noon to learn about refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE. This free webinar is a perfect opportunity to meet the doctors and have them answer all your questions about K2 Vision RLE. Questions like, how much does RLE cost? Is financing available? Does insurance pay for RLE? These questions and lots more will be covered this Thursday at noon during the K2 Vision RLE free live webinar. K2 Vision surgeons have performed over 150,000 procedures. They know when RLE is right for you. K2 Vision RLE. No glasses, no contacts, no readers. Plus, no more cataracts. Don't miss the free live webinar this Thursday at noon. Register at K2VisionRLE.com. K2VisionRLE.com. That's K2VisionRLE.com.
7:43 over to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk with Sully.
And we're still working with about a 4.5 to 5 mile backup on southbound I-5 from basically just before the outlet mall there in Tulalip, coming all the way down through the main Marysville exit after a long-term crash we had there at 529. Still up at an elevated 40 minutes, a 25-minute delay. And since that's been with us most of the morning, everyone is jumping to Highway 9, to Highway 204 out of Lake Stevens, Highway 2, coming over from Snohomish, trying to get down onto the trestle. So it's just a kind of an ugly drive there in that whole, Arlington, Smoky Point, Marysville, Lake Stevens through Snohomish area. Once you make it over to I-5, we have brake lights by the Boeing Freeway, and then really away from Linwood. It is a typically heavy Wednesday, really rough day. Hour and 10-minute trips from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, with at least 50 of that just from South Center. So it's kind of unrelenting as you make your way through. Coming up from the south end, Olympia to Tacoma looks really good. We're losing a few minutes up out to Highway 18 out of the Fife Hill, and then Federal Way to Seattle, about an hour and 10, depending on how you hit the volume. We're looking at 40 minutes out of South Center, but still 30 minutes up into it. Still pretty heavy past 272nd. Valley Freeway really bogging down from 212th and Kent. We've got still an hour drive from Puyallup up into Renton, and then Renton to Bellevue's 45 minutes. Eastbound 18 is really struggling over Tiger Mountain. The Lake Bridges are now getting into the act, especially westbound 90, heavy off of Mercer Island over through the Mount Baker Tunnel. You're going to need about 25 minutes on I-90, 20 on 520 to go from Bellevue to Seattle. This report brought to you by D.R. Horton. With over 20 Puget Sound communities, D.R. Horton has the right home for you. Learn more at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
Showers today, highs in the low 50s. We start to warm up and dry out tomorrow and through the weekend. By Saturday, we could be talking about partly to mostly sunny skies and highs in the upper 60s, maybe even low 70s. Right now in Seattle, it's 43 at 7:45. And we head over to the news desk with KIRO Newsradio morning editor Katrina Gashard.
Right now, Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg is in Washington, D.C., testifying before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation.
Boeing made serious missteps in recent years, and it's unacceptable.
This follows last year's incident in which a door plug blew out on an Alaskan Boeing 737 MAX 9 jet and other safety scares on Boeing planes.
I moved to Seattle because I believe our leadership needs to get closer to the people designing and building the aircraft.
KIRO News Radio's James Lynch will have more on the hearing at 8 o'clock. A man is facing charges after stealing a chicken in Kitsap County. On Saturday, deputies say a woman reported her ex-boyfriend kicked in the back door of her Port Orchard home and grabbed the chicken. Later, deputies found the man who was still clutching the chicken while he was taken into custody.
Relax, Lamar.
Eventually, the man released the chicken.
Have you put the chicken in here for a second?
He's facing charges of residential burglary and violating a protection order.
You know, of all the stories we have today, that's certainly something I'm not going to forget. So thank you, Katrina.
You got
Stolen
it.
chicken headlines. 7:46 on the way. We speak with our correspondent Kevin Brassler about how credit card perks may not be all they're cracked up to be. That's on the way here on Seattle's Morning News.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Paid political announcement.
We live here in Washington. I travel all over the state for work.
Affordable short-term rentals help us stay together and make Hazel feel at home.
Now Olympia is considering a huge tax increase on short-term rentals,
pricing us and other families out, since more than half of short-term rentals here are used by Washingtonians.
Costs on everything are going up.
Please tell legislators not to make our trips more expensive too.
Paid for by Airbnb helps our state thrive. Host PAC.
This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio, and here's your host, Charlie Harder.
You ever wonder if you're missing out on freebies hiding in plain sight? From credit card perks to AAA benefits to warehouse club extras, Kevin Brassler from checkbook.org joins us to reveal the hidden goodies you're already entitled to. Kevin, let's start with this. What is like a surprising free perk a lot of people don't know about?
Oh, I think, a lot of the perks offered by Costco might surprise you if you're not used to seeing them. They have, free, basically a travel agency. They offer discounts on things like rental cars. We often find that it offers the best prices for rental cars. It offers to extend your warranty by usually a year if there's a manufacturer's warranty for, computers and electronics and appliances. It has a car price shopping service, kind of a no haggle thing where if they try to identify dealers in the area that will offer to sell a price for what Costco thinks is a good deal. It's not so surprising, though, if you know that Costco really counts on almost all its profits for its member fee. It wants you to sign up for a Costco membership, and it wants you to keep renewing. And so in addition to getting, the really low prices on stuff it's selling, it's trying to give you some other perks to throw in there to keep you attached. And so Amazon Prime operates a similar way. Amazon it's collecting more than $40 billion a year off subscriptions, and a big chunk of that is from its Prime membership. I think most people originally signed on for Prime because it had free 2-day shipping. Usually, if your order's $35 or more, you can get that anyway. So Amazon needs another reason and other incentives to try to get us to sign up for Prime and stay signed up. So it does things like free cloud storage of photos. You can back up your photos unlimited to Amazon's cloud for free. It's just another thing it's trying to get out there to keep people attached to it.
What should I be aware of? Is there any fine print catches that might get me?
Yeah, I think especially we dug into a lot of the perks offered by credit cards, and especially travel credit cards often promote not so well. When they're looking to sign people up, they really promote all the perks you can get with a credit card, like purchase protection, trip protection, extended warranties, rental car coverage, things like that. A lot of times you dig into these things, and I think a good example is purchase protection. These credit card companies say, "Oh, if you drop your new TV or whatever and break it, we'll replace it or refund you." But if you dig into the policy, those purchase protection, basically it's secondary insurance to your homeowners or renters coverage. So you have to file a claim and then tell your credit card company, hey, I filed a claim with my homeowner's insurance company for this small purchase maybe. Now you have to pick up because, it's just the deductible or whatever, right? And the same is true for rental car coverage. A lot of the rental car coverage is out there that you get with your credit card, which is the collision damage waiver coverage. It's secondary to your auto insurance plan. And so what they're offering in terms of trip protection and all these other things, it's not worth much. They're nice perks to have maybe, but a lot of consumers aren't going to take advantage of them.
I'm feeling deflated. I thought this was a big deal from credit card companies. Not so much.
I think it speaks to when a credit card company offers you something like trip protection or extended warranties for free, as does Costco in terms of extended warranties. It speaks to the fact that the stuff being sold by stores, by retailers, you can't buy any electronics these days without them hounding you by the extended warranty, that those warranties especially aren't worth much if so many other people are willing to give them to you for free.
I just turned 50, and I got the letter in the mail, and I signed up for AARP. It looks like they have some good benefits in terms of perks. What should I be looking for there?
Yeah, I think that, there are a lot of organizations out there that offer discounts or intro offers or things to their members. Just know that, a lot of the things AARP offers, it's nice to get these discounts, but, some of the things they offer, you should at least search around to make sure you're getting the best deal. And that especially when it comes to insurance, AARP offers its own lines of insurance, either health insurance or Medigap supplement plans, auto and home insurance. Make sure that you are getting the best deal because you might be able to get a better price from a different carrier. Don't assume that any of these companies are offering you the best price for anything without checking around first.
Well, I was able to get a card in my wife's name, and she's a few years younger than me. And boy, she just laughed and laughed and laughed seeing her name
She's
on
hit the
an
big time.
AARP card.
She's one of us now, huh?
Yeah, I slept on the couch. Well, maybe not. All right, Kevin Brassler, checkbook.org, and we have a link, checkbook.org/KIRO-FM/free, giving you some access to these tips. That goes until May 1st, and we'll have a link for that on mynorthwest.com.
Great.
Kevin, thanks.
Thank you.
7:54 now. We head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk with Sully.
Still not seeing any improvement on southbound I-5 trying to get out of the Marysville area because of this long-term crash at 529, which is long gone. We're looking at 40 minutes from Arlington to Everett. You hit the brakes at the north end of the outlet mall, and then you're on them the rest of the way through. And then we've got about an hour and 15 to an hour and 20-minute drive from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, and most of that slowing is really away from the Linwood area, so not exactly a very good drive there. Rented to Bellevue's up to about 40 minutes, and behind that, the Valley Freeway is running at an hour, 35 of those minutes out of Auburn, so not exactly a fun day coming up the Valley Freeway either. Northbound I-5, hour and 10-minute trip from Federal Way to Seattle with about 35 of those minutes to South Center. Don't bail and go up 99. We've got a crash in South Park blocking pretty much most of the road northbound right there before you get to the First Avenue South Bridge. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
And we're expecting showers today, especially in King and Snohomish counties. We dry out, and tomorrow we start to clear out and warm up. By Saturday, we're expecting highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. So nice weekend on tap. Right now in Seattle, we have clouds. It's 42 on Seattle's Morning News.
KIRO News Radio, your home for G and Ursula, 9 to noon.
This is the first time that median earnings in Seattle have hit six figures.
San Francisco being number one and Seattle being number two, what do those two places have in common with each other? Homelessness crisis. Isn't it something that the places where you're middle of the pack making $100,000 a year, the homeless is more in those places than anywhere in the country? But G is drugs.
Streaming live on your smart speaker. KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Hi, it's John Curley. Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. I've recently talked with Dr. Mixon about his approach to proactively focusing on prevention. Dr. Mixon, I first met you in 2009, and I went in there and I told you I wasn't feeling well, couldn't gain any muscle mass, couldn't sleep well, I was stressed out, and you looked at me and you said, yeah, I know what your problem is.
And all we did was we measured your values and we moved your values back to those of a nice, healthy 25-year-old man.
I have taken your blood work to my doctor, and he was shocked. He couldn't believe the depth in which you study my blood.
We need to draw a distinction between living a long time and getting old. And that's what longevity is all about, is we are here to do the measurements and help you fix those problems.
So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Cold is leaking and rocks are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. The process was simple and easy. I scheduled my free consultation and discovered I was at the early stage of cataracts and a perfect candidate for RLE. They restored clarity and brightness to my vision like when I was in my 20s, and I'll never need readers again and never develop cataracts. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens are taking RLE surgery to the next level. Call them now at 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com, official eye care provider of Sounders FC.
It's a new year, but many seniors are struggling with the same old problem: high prices and rising property taxes. We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, and he says a reverse mortgage may be the answer.
Many seniors cannot afford to stay in the home they love.
A reverse mortgage gives them access to equity in their home without having to sell. They can pay off their mortgage if they have one and maybe pull some extra cash out of their home. And best of all, they have no mortgage payment the rest of their life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
Dayandnight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
Dayandnight.net.
Plumbing emergency? Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
Dayandnight.net.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. That's Revive, REVIBE, menshealth.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. A federal judge has dismissed the corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, acting on a request from the Trump Justice Department. CBS's Katrina Kaufman says the judge denied prosecutors the ability to possibly jumpstart the case after the mayoral election.
The judge says that he did this for a very specific reason. He said that everything here, quote, smacks of a bargain and dismissal of the indictment in exchange for immigration policy concessions. What this judge is worried about is that he thinks the government wants to hold leverage over Eric Adams. If he dismissed the case without prejudice, that would mean that these charges could be brought again.
Later today, President Trump's expected to spell out his new round of tariffs. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
One of the winners here, domestic manufacturers. I actually visited a company in Pennsylvania that's already seeing an increase in orders. However, they warn the tariffs on aluminum and steel could hurt that growth.
Elon Musk has faced critics over his role in the Trump administration. Now there's new information on one of his companies.
Tesla sold 337,000 vehicles in the first quarter. That's down 13% from the same period last year. CEO Elon Musk has become a lightning rod, but there are other issues at work. That includes an aging lineup and a lot of new competitors.
Reporter Jeff Gilbert of affiliate WWJ Detroit. At a hearing on issues at Boeing, Texas Republican Ted Cruz turned up criticism on the U.S. Army over the helicopter collision with an American Airlines jet near D.C.
If another Black Hawk helicopter strikes another passenger jet and murders 67 people because the Army refused to change its policy of turning off ADS-B out, and rather than act proactively to protect people's lives, the Army chose to protect its bureaucratic ass, those deaths will be on the Army's hands.
Millions are bracing for possibly dangerous weather later today in the nation's midsection. CBS Philadelphia meteorologist Kate Bilo is tracking it.
Parts of Oklahoma, Kansas into Missouri. We are under active tornado watches right now. This really didn't die down overnight, and it's only going to ramp up later today. Our severe risk today, southeastern Missouri, portions of eastern Arkansas, the city of Memphis, Tennessee. That is a high risk, level 5 out of 5 for severe thunderstorms. And one of the biggest risks, tornadoes.
Hollywood mourns Val Kilmer.
Why, Johnny Ringo.
The Tombstone and Batman star died at age 65. Checking Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 61 points. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
What we're learning about a shooting in Seattle today, that's coming up on Seattle's Morning News. But first, we check in with Sully at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
Hey, Charlie, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
What do commuters on I-5 through Marysville have in common with the I-5 commuters through Marysville at 6 a.m.?
They're stuck on the roads and listening to Sully?
Yeah, they still are dealing with 5-mile backups from Arlington down through Everett, all because of a crash right there at 529, and it has just not gotten better. The crash is long gone, but I mean, it's bumper to bumper from well before the Tulalip Outlaw Mall. 40 minutes from Arlington to Everett, a 25-minute delay. That really hasn't moved all morning long. I'm just hoping that the volume passes through and this clears up soon, because this is really jammed up. Highway 9, 204, Highway 2, you name it. Anything in that general corridor is going to be struggling. And then you're looking at an hour and a half from Everett to Seattle. That's just brutal. Barely a little break in the middle there through probably by the golf course there by the Nile, and then again probably from about the 85th on down. So it's just ugly. Hour and 20 Everett to Bellevue, but it gets better past the county line. Lake Bridges, both about 25 minutes now. An hour and 5 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle, and do not get onto 99 northbound getting into and through South Park. That northbound stretch is basically blocked for a crash right before the 1st Avenue South Bridge. 40 minutes Renton to Bellevue, and an hour from Puyallup to Renton. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
8:04 Wednesday morning, Seattle's Morning News. I'm Charlie Harger. Thanks for joining us today. A 40-year-old man was shot and killed on First Hill. Seattle police are investigating this morning. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch is joining us live with details. James, what are we learning here?
Well, Charlie, 911 calls started coming in just before 2 a.m. Gunshots and a man down at an apartment complex at the intersection of Seneca Street and Minor Avenue. The victim was shot at least once. Life-saving measures were unsuccessful, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect fled and has not been found. Police say they don't know what led to the shooting, but homicide detectives are investigating. Anyone with information should call SPD or 911. Charlie?
James, thank you. Washington's governor is shaking his head at state lawmakers' plans for the budget.
I'm Heather Bosch.
Neither budget is close to one that I can sign.
Governor Bob Ferguson says both the State House and Senate budgets contain too much in taxes, and one in particular is a problem.
They both rely on a wealth tax, which is novel, untested, difficult to implement, and most importantly, for purposes of adopting a sustainable budget, will face an immediate challenge in court.
The House and Senate are each proposing budgets of about $78 billion over 2 years. It's a record in state spending that relies on a record amount of taxes.
There was quick reaction from the House Republican budget lead.
I've been saying that it's nice that we have a governor now who lives on the same planet as the rest of us.
That's Representative Travis Couture, who says the governor's priorities are in line with what his party and the people have been saying for years.
What they want is a budget that lives within its means, reduce the reckless spending, and no new taxes.
Ferguson says he will not sign the proposals because there are too many taxes and not enough cuts. We'll have a legislative update coming up in about 8 minutes with the Washington State Standard's Jerry Cornfield. We'll unpack this development in Olympia. King County has a new executive sworn in yesterday. Shannon Braddock is the first woman to hold the office after 16-year incumbent Dow Constantine resigned to take the helm of Sound Transit. She says she'll put out a plan for the 200 days she expects to spend in office.
My goal is to really keep stability in place, to keep moving forward the priorities that this council and Executive Constantine had set forth.
But Braddock will not run for the permanent job. That's the general election in November. She is not going to run for office. Seattle City Council goes on the record reversing any previous efforts to defund the police. Members passed a non-binding resolution yesterday expressing support and appreciation for first responders, including cops. The council's end goal is addressing next steps to close out federal oversight of the SPD. This new city council has adopted 14 pieces of public safety-related measures since 2024. To Kent, where the city council there voted to approve stay-out-of-drug areas, or SODA zones, last night. KIRO 7 TV's Dee Sun has details.
There was about an hour of public comment before the ordinance passed. It was approved as part of the consent agenda with almost a dozen other items, all in one single vote.
Our experience has been this. Our bigger challenge is getting people to accept help.
Again, fentanyl does not allow for that to happen.
The move was controversial. Opponents are worried the ordinance will fill jails and make it harder for people to get help. Seattle and Auburn passed similar rules last year. Right now, there is no word yet on when police will start enforcing those new zones in Kent.
To Pierce County, where quick thinking by managers at a fast food restaurant may have prevented a workplace shooting. Deputy Carly Capetto with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office says managers of the restaurant found a loaded gun in an employee's backpack after learning he planned to shoot a coworker.
When managers searched the backpack, they did in fact find a loaded gun with an extended magazine.
The suspect claimed other people gave him the gun. Police say surveillance video proves otherwise. He faces attempted assault and stolen firearm charges for the March 18th incident. A suspicious pickup truck in West Seattle led police to drugs, stolen IDs, and a suspect wearing ballistic armor. Officers responded after neighbors reported a bullet-riddled truck in their neighborhood Monday. They arrested a 34-year-old man who police say tried to run away. Inside the stolen vehicle, police found Xanax, mushrooms, meth, and a bunch of stolen credit cards. A 13-year-old boy is in the hospital after a hit-and-run crash in Sequim Monday night.
I just hope that you can find it in your heart to turn yourself in and give us closure.
That's Colton's mother, Cherie Tichelle. She tells KIRO 7 TV he was airlifted to Harborview.
He has a fractured pelvis and he has a fractured skull. They had to rebuild the bone around the brain and relieve the pressure that was in there.
Sequim police say they're working with the Clallam County Sheriff's Office and State Patrol to try and find the driver and the vehicle. The suspect in the attempted kidnapping of a teenage girl in Bellevue waived his right to appear in court yesterday. KIRO 7 TV's Jason Sloss spoke with Tony, a man who stepped in to help.
Bellevue police released surveillance photos of the suspect, saying he attacked the girl shortly after they got off at the same bus stop.
I think the biggest thing, I couldn't tell if she was making noise, but the fact that she was struggling and putting up as much of a fight as she was absolutely the right thing to be doing.
Tony says he and another woman stayed with the girl until police and her parents arrived.
Right now, Boeing's president and CEO Kelly Ortberg is in Washington, D.C. and on the hot seat, testifying before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. This follows last year's incident in which a door plug blew out on an Alaska Boeing 737 MAX jet and all those safety scares on other Boeing planes.
First of all, it's unacceptable that an aircraft left our factory without that door plug properly installed. And let me just make that perfectly clear. That can never happen again.
He will continue testifying through the morning. We told you this week about a case of whooping cough that's causing concerns for parents at Puyallup's Zeiger Elementary School. This comes as the number of cases across Washington continues to spike.
Statewide, as of March 22nd, there were a total of 689 cases reported in 2025. That's compared to 120 by that same time in 2024. Dr. Francis Rito is the medical director for infection control and prevention at Evergreen Health in Kirkland. He tells the John Curley Show babies under the age of 1 are most at risk.
As they try to inhale and get enough oxygen to breathe, it's a very scary experience to be around a child who's struggling like that.
He recommends getting vaccinated against whooping cough. Frank Lindsay, KIRO Newsradio.
WashDOT says they're back on track for the Ship Canal Bridge project. KIRO Newsradio's Nate Connors spoke with WashDOT yesterday.
Originally, this project was to begin in March, but in January, WashDOT announced a sudden budget shortfall would postpone this project until next year. Spokesperson Tom Pierce explains the budget snafu.
We had a budget set for the project. When we established the budget, we thought the funding was sufficient. However, as we got into the project, seeing what the work was going to entail, they determined that we would need more money this year.
When those funds weren't readily available, that's when this project was put on hold. But in order to get back on track, WashDOT will implement a scaled-down version this summer, bringing northbound I-5 down to 2 lanes between July and August. More info, including my interview with Tom Pierce at mynorthwest.com. Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
At 8:12, let's get a check on the weather, brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Here's KIRO 7's Nick Allard.
This morning, we have still some Puget Sound convergence zone rain. Really, just a simple way to put it is we have some light showers around
around, say, most of Snohomish County into Seattle and some across the Kitsap Peninsula. These showers will be around lightly for the next few hours, dissipating into the afternoon. And then I think you'll just see a few spotty showers pick up, especially in the South Sound, with mainly drier weather around Everett and Seattle. So we're all going to get some sun breaks. We're all going to see, again, just a few showers here and there, but it's not going to be a super wet day. Highs will be in the low 50s. Tomorrow, though, it's back to low clouds and fog, and then afternoon sun in the upper 50s and lower 60s, really seasonal temperatures. And then mid to upper 60s for Friday, and maybe some low 70s. Same thing into Saturday before some clouds increase during the day on Sunday, and we do see some rain and keep it wet and cool to start next week.
It's 43 and cloudy at 8:13. Over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk now with Sully.
And it is an ugly drive. And when I mean ugly, it's ugly. Coming down out of Snohomish County. Not only do we have a 25-minute delay to get to from Arlington to Everett, but then we have a 20-minute delay as well from Everett into Seattle. It's about 2 hours from Arlington to Seattle right now. That's the real-time issue. We've got 40 minutes from Arlington to Everett. That's because of an earlier crash. Everett to Seattle's just people driving down, getting into downtown.
No crash, nothing like that.
Nothing. So an hour and 40 minutes now from Everett into Seattle is brutal. Everett to Bellevue is about an hour and 15, maybe a little bit better. The braking there doesn't extend as far south as it does on I-5. Going northbound, coming northbound, I should say, Pierce County is starting to clear out, so that's good. We still have about an hour and 10-minute trip from Federal Way to Seattle. 40 of those minutes are from South Center, and do not bail and get off at 99 if that's kind of your backdoor way into downtown. There's a crash in South Park that basically has northbound just down to a turn lane before you get to the First Avenue South Bridge, and that's not moving and that's not going anywhere. Renton to Bellevue is about 40 minutes. Behind that, the Valley Freeway is a shade under an hour, but it's trending in the right direction. As I said, Pierce County is getting better. The Lake Bridges, I-90 is about 25 minutes, about 20 on 520. Lake Washington Windows and Doors brings us this report, offering premium windows that are 25% more efficient than Energy Star ratings, reduces outside noise up to 50%. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today.
At 8:15, we head over to the news desk with KIRO News Radio morning editor Katrina Gashard.
An 18-year-old accused of murder after a marijuana sale took a violent turn will face a judge today. Zaire Orr and a 15-year-old are charged with killing McKinley Williams in February. Court documents say Williams and his girlfriend showed up to an Auburn neighborhood for a drug deal. Orr remains in jail on $3 million bail. He's due in court at 9 a.m. It was another tough night for the Mariners hitters, managing just one hit after a 4-1 loss to Detroit. Victor Robles had the lone single for Seattle. Detroit star Casey Mikes was struck out 6 Mariners, while Logan Gilbert took the loss despite 10 strikeouts.
I want to save the pen as much as I can. I felt like I was in a groove. I was going well. So if it wasn't second game of the season, I'm probably going back out there, but that's just how it goes when the pitch count gets run up a little bit.
The Mariners will play the Tigers this afternoon at 1:10. Catch the game on our sister station, 710 Seattle Sports.
Yeah, they need to turn things around. I think they would be the first to agree with that, but it's just been kind of a disappointing start, especially after that exciting first game, guys. That was so great to see, but it's been a kind of a tough road to hoe right now.
Anything is possible. They can turn it around. We just have to believe.
Okay. All right. It's 8:16 on Seattle's Morning News.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio. Here's your host, Charlie Harger.
Well, it's great to have you here with us as we are at Wednesday morning on Seattle's Morning News. This segment of programming brought to us by WaFd Bank. To Olympia we go, where there's high drama in the state capitol, with the Gov saying no way to budget proposals from his fellow Democrats in the state House and Senate. He says both raise taxes too much, and he says a proposed new wealth tax would draw lawsuits.
I think it is fair to say that the courts go either way on that issue. So it is simply not an option for me, to balance a budget on a revenue source where that is the case.
There is a lot to unpack here, and Jerry Cornfield with the Washington State Standard is following it all. Jerry, first-time caller, long-time listener. I love following your writing on state politics, so thanks for being here today.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Was this expected?
I'm not surprised. I mean, the governor has made a few comments, started with his inauguration address about what he wanted to see. Voters hired a lawyer. A lawyer tends to enter into negotiations with, the strong position. And that's what I think he used yesterday. He wanted to signal on one issue, the wealth tax. He wanted to make clear to the budget writers that their budgets right now count on more than $2 billion in the next budget cycle from the wealth tax. And I think he wanted to say, look, that one does not cut it at all with me.
What I've heard from him is also wanting to talk more about cuts before raising taxes in other areas as well. What is that looking like right now?
Well, I think all the cuts, the ones that people can find easily, have been talked about, identified, and written in. Now we start getting a little more to the bone if there are going to be more cuts. I mean, one of the key things to listen from yesterday is that he knows that an all cuts budget doesn't work, so he knows there will be revenue coming from new sources. He knows he will accept that. And quite frankly, the proposals he's put out don't erase the shortfall that keeps getting larger when he has press conferences. So he knows that that's part of the end game. I couldn't find in the 1,300-page budgets items that could be cut that haven't already been identified. They just have to decide which ones they can all agree on.
We heard from Republican Representative Travis Couture, who's one of the budget writers on the House side for the Republicans, and he said it's kind of refreshing to have a governor who's living on the same planet as us, something to that effect. What is the Republican reaction to Bob Ferguson in office? Because in the election, they were saying this would be one of the worst things ever to happen.
Well, and if you recall, Bob Ferguson as a candidate was saying some strong things about the Republicans' approach to leading the state and big business. He wasn't going to take their money, but these days it looks like the advice he's taking is coming from Republicans and business. And I think he's providing them cover. He's working with them on some of their ideas, and it helped push back against Democrats who are far more progressive than he is. So, this is politics. You find your friends where you can. There's a lot of pieces to this budget puzzle yet to be put together, and I think he's learning his way and making those relationships. And we've had governors work with Republicans. We didn't have much with the last governor, but we have had in the past.
We're speaking with Jerry Cornfield from the Washington State Standard. One of the things that Governor Ferguson also expressed concern about is money that comes from the federal government in terms of this was pandemic funding and other federal funds that he says we can't rely on. How big of an issue is that expected to be?
I think it's a huge issue. It's a huge question mark. It's why even the Democratic lawmakers have talked about having a plan B, C, and D for the budget. Every day something comes out of the federal government and from President Trump that it could have big impacts on the state, whether it's tariffs today, whether it's a budget that cuts into Medicaid. Governor Ferguson outlined several big numbers from different programs that could be lost if they carry through, if Congress and the courts can't stop some of the changes that the Trump administration is proposing. So, they may adopt a budget, send it to them on April 27th, and they could be back here in May, June, July, or some other month later this year.
And Jerry, I spoke to one of the Senate budget writers, Senator June Robinson, earlier this week, and her assertion was she believes that big businesses will pay the associated taxes with having a larger payroll. But we heard Microsoft President Brad Smith recently say, no, this is a bad idea. How does that play into these calculations?
Well, I can tell you today, Brad Smith and 59 other leaders of business sent a letter to the governor and the leaders of the budget writers saying, don't do any of these taxes that you're talking about. At the same time, they heard Governor Ferguson say, some revenue's coming. So I would be waiting for the business community to privately or publicly put down the ones that they can support. One of the issues of the payroll tax could be by exempting all the businesses in Seattle. If you pay it in Seattle, you'll be exempted from the state. It's going to be hard for lawmakers to vote for a tax knowing that those businesses in Seattle aren't paying it. And so I think that could be a political obstacle they have to overcome. But in the bigger picture, there's going to need to be some signaling from the business community of what they can support or will support, begrudgingly or not, to get the deal done in the end.
Okay, Jerry, you'll join us again, right? This is really insightful stuff from you.
I will be happy to.
Okay, Jerry Cornfield, WashingtonStateStandard.com. Check it out. He covers the state legislature like nobody's business. Appreciate it, Jerry.
Oh, thank you.
It's 8:23. We head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk with Sully.
And still no joy in Marysville as we work with a 40-minute trip from Arlington to Everett. A lot of volume, a little bit of weather, and really started off with a crash at 529, and we really haven't recovered. So that's a 25-minute delay, and what that's done is has sent a lot of people down to Highway 2, 204, and Highway 9. And now we've got a new issue. I want to thank Mike Kornfeldlaw, hands-free highway helper, who told me that we have a crash right at the Snohomish River Bridge in Snohomish, and I see it. They're alternating traffic there. So that is going to leave a significant mark for already what is one of our slower parts of our commute that I don't mention enough, getting through Snohomish. And then you get over to the I-5 corridor and you hit Linwood, and you just step on the brakes and you look at the person's license plate in front of you for a while. And for a very long while. Hour and 30 minutes, hour and a half to go from Everett to Seattle, and about an hour and 15 from Everett to Bellevue. It is not pretty out of Snohomish County. Northbound I-5, though, getting better from Federal Way to South Center, but from South Center on up, it's a little over 40 minutes, so that puts us at about an hour and 10. Still dealing with this crash in South Park on northbound 99. If you normally use that to maybe get away from I-5, don't do it for the next little bit. They're in the process of cleaning out the cars right there. Basically, you're getting by in the turn lane right before the First Avenue South Bridge, so that's going to be a really long delay. Valley Freeway, not too bad, back under 50 minutes. Rented to Bellevue's about 45, and eastbound I-90 is really bogging down, approaching 405, one of the heavier days there. Across Mercer Island, getting to 405, it's just volume. You're going to need about 30 minutes to go eastbound from Seattle to Bellevue, and you'll need about 25 to go from Bellevue to Seattle. This report brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, mechanical needs, stop freaking and call Beacon.
We expect to have highs in the low 50s today. Showers basically from North King County up to Skagit County. Occasional. Start to dry out overnight. Tomorrow we are looking for partly sunny skies, partly to mostly sunny the next couple days. By Saturday, we could have highs in the upper 60s, even low 70s. Right now, it's 42 in Seattle. More of the day's top local stories on the way. This is Seattle's Morning News.
This hour is brought to you by WaFd Bank.
KIRO Newsradio delivers the news you can trust.
State is facing a multi-billion-dollar deficit.
Government wants more of your money to build, quote-unquote, affordable housing.
We help you navigate the headlines, providing clarity and context to help you understand how today's events impact your life tomorrow.
The driver pulled out a gun. The officer opened fire, shooting at least one time.
The problem is worse in King County than any other part of the country.
Stay informed. Stay connected with KIRO Newsradio.
Why is K2 Vision RLE a permanent solution to glasses, contacts, and readers? How is it that you'll never develop a cataract after K2 Vision RLE? And how is RLE different from LASIK?
Hey, it's Doctors King and Kopstein from K2 Vision RLE. We'll answer those questions and others when you join us for our free live webinar this Thursday at noon. Andy, what are some of the other questions you hear?
Well, how long is the procedure and recovery? Or who's a good candidate for RLE?
And we'll also answer, how much does RLE cost? Is there financing available? Does insurance pay for RLE?
Find out how K2 Vision RLE is the permanent solution to glasses, contacts, and readers.
And cataracts too.
Right, no more cataracts.
K2 Vision's free live webinar this Thursday at noon. Space will be limited, so register now at k2visionrle.com.
Join us at our free live webinar this Thursday at noon. Sign up at k2visionrle.com.
The markets and the economy will change, but you should always know what you can rely on from your financial advisor. I'm John Ramsire with Baird Private Wealth Management in Seattle. With deep planning and investment expertise, Baird's financial advisors have guided individuals and families through changing markets for more than 100 years. And in all that time, our guiding principle has never changed. Our clients come first, always. Discover the Baird difference at rwbaird.com/Seattle.
Paid political announcement.
We live here in Washington. I travel all over the state for work.
Affordable short-term rentals help us stay together and make Hazel feel at home.
Now Olympia is considering a huge tax increase on short-term rentals,
pricing us and other families out, since more than half of short-term rentals here are used by Washingtonians.
Costs on everything are going up.
Please tell legislators not to make our trips more expensive too.
Paid for by Airbnb helps our state thrive. Host PAC.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com.
All right, keep up. It's me, the radar gun at T-Mobile Park. And these Mariners pitchers have me working overtime. 3 all-star aces, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and George Kirby throwing absolute gas.
Holy smokes, what a performance. Strikeout number 10 on the night.
And don't forget about Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, the young guns. Those guys get me fired all the way up.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
And just when you think you've survived, here comes Andres Munoz dialing up triple digits and shutting the door. Oh boy, I'm giddy just thinking about it.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and the ball game is over.
Trust me, you're going to want to grab a seat and feel the speed for yourself. And there we go again. I got to make sure my batteries are charged. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The Mariners have an incredible slate of promos all month long. Don't miss the Cal Platinum Glove bobblehead giveaway Monday, April 7th through Wednesday, April 9th. Corduroy Hat Night presented by Alaska Airlines Friday, April 11th, and more. Go to mariners.com/promos to get your tickets and check out the complete lineup.
We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, the reverse mortgage expert. Steve, mortgage rates have been dropping this year. How could that help seniors struggling to stay in their homes?
Lower mortgage rates means seniors can now get more money from their equity with a reverse mortgage. You can pay off your existing mortgage, have extra money to help with today's high cost of living, or believe it or not, you can even buy a home with a reverse mortgage. There are many uses, and best of all, you have no mortgage payments the rest of your life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Gray whales are back in the Salish Sea. Family-run Puget Sound Express offers guaranteed whale-watching tours departing from Edmonds. Don't miss Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book online at PugetSoundExpress.com.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. It's 8:31. I'm Charlie Harger. Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg is in Washington, D.C. right now, testifying before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. And KIRO News Radio's James Lynch is following that testimony and joins us live. James?
Charlie, the hearing is being called Safety First, restoring Boeing's status as a great American manufacturer. The hearing is examining steps Boeing is taking to address production deficiencies and safety issues identified in the wake of the Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 incident last January. You may recall a door plug on a Boeing 737 MAX 9 blew out mid-flight. Since then, Boeing has been subject to additional safety audits and enhanced Federal Aviation Administration oversight. Here's Boeing's CEO, Kelly Ortberg.
I want everybody to know the entire Boeing team is absolutely committed to building the highest quality aircraft in the world. Air traffic is the safest mode of transportation, and we need to continue that and continue to find and learn if there's incidences so that these don't turn into tragic accidents in the future.
Washington State Senator Maria Cantwell and the ranking member on the committee, and Texas Senator Ted Cruz is the committee chair. They presided over the hearing, Charlie.
Thank you, James. Keep us updated. It's 8:33. Governor Ferguson says he can't sign either version of the House or Senate's budget proposals. He says both raise taxes too much, and he says the proposed new wealth tax would draw lawsuits.
I think it is fair to say that the courts go either way on that issue. So it is simply not an option for me, to balance a budget on a revenue source where that is the case.
Major construction closures coming to the Ship Canal Bridge this summer after all. WashDOT's Tom Pierce says it's a scaled-down version of the project that was earlier postponed due to a lack of funding.
We reduced the scope of this project to focus on the Ship Canal Bridge, and that should help us to keep it within budget.
Northbound I-5 will be reduced to just 2 lanes between late July and late August. WashDOT hopes to repair and resurface 20% of the bridge this year. 8:34 as we head over to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk, and it sounds like it's just been sheer misery for people who are trying to make their way out of Snohomish County.
Yeah, it's been brutal. We've had a combination of volume, a lot of cars. We've had weather. We've had a crash at 529. We have a crash on Highway 9 that's still active in Snohomish. And so, it's just pretty ugly. And, 10 minutes ago I said you're going to be stuck looking at the person's license plate. Well, our good friend Melinda in Bellevue says that that would be good. Look at hers and feel positive. Hers is Lightheart on her license plate. So give you a little positive vibes there. Better than some of the license plates I've seen out there as well. But coming down from the north end, we're trying to get better, but it's still 40 minutes from Arlington into Marysville and down into Everett because of that crash there. Good news is we picked up the pace a little bit on I-5. It's an hour and 15, which is better than the hour and 40 we had not too long ago. So it's trying to break free just a little bit, but just know you're going to be in about a 15-minute delay. It's going to be an hour and 10 to 15 on 405 as well. Northbound I-5 up to 45 minutes now from South Center, so that's the heaviest drive there, but still only an hour and 5 minutes from Federal Way. They're making improvements on northbound 99 through South Park, the crouch we have right before the First Avenue South Bridge. We now have the right lane open. Northbound 405 rented to Bellevue's got about a 45-minute trip. We have brake lights right before Highway I-90 as well. Eastbound 90 is really struggling trying to get over there to the 405 corridor, and westbound is bumper to bumper now across the lake. So plan on 25 to 30 minutes to go from Bellevue to Seattle. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. Download the Seattle Sports app and stay in the know. Latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite local teams.
Occasional showers today, highs in the low 50s, upper 50s tomorrow, and we start to clear out and warm up by Friday and Saturday, highs in the 60s, maybe even low 70s on Saturday with plenty of sunshine. Right now in Seattle, it's 43 and cloudy at 8:36.
This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio. And here's your host, Charlie Harker.
A 40-year-old man was shot and killed on First Hill. Seattle police are investigating. 911 calls came in just before 2 in the morning. Gunshots and a man down at an apartment complex at the intersection of Seneca and Minor. The victim was shot at least once. Life-saving measures were unsuccessful. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police don't know what led to the shooting. Homicide detectives are investigating. The suspect has fled from the scene and so far has not been found. They're asking anyone with information to call 911. New information about the man arrested for gunning down 2 people outside a Seattle hookah bar on Sunday. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery has that investigation.
We've learned that the 25-year-old was already on probation for a federal gun charge and banned from possessing firearms. At just 18 years old, he was accused of getting his mother to buy guns for him, which federal investigators say he sold to gang members. But community advocates say he turned his life around. The CEO of Community Passageways, a youth diversion program, wrote a glowing personal recommendation for the suspect as he petitioned to end his federal probation early, saying the young man kept away from crime and was even leading workshops for at-risk youth. You can read the whole story on mynorthwest.com.
The suspect has not been charged. That decision is expected to come down this afternoon. Pierce County Sheriff's deputies were called to the scene of Friday night's mass shooting about 90 minutes before the shots were fired. It started with a noise complaint. This was at 10:45 p.m.
There was an armed robbery call that came in at the same time, so that was given priority. At 11:45 p.m., they were dispatched to the noise complaint call, but then they were diverted to a high-risk traffic stop. This is Deputy Carly Capetto.
When you call 911 and you want something done about it, you want something done about it now.
Once deputies finished at the traffic stop, they headed to the noise complaint call at the party scene. Just 30 seconds before they got there, the shots rang out that left 2 people dead and 4 injured. Frank Lindsay, KIRO Newsradio.
A masked gunman robs a mail carrier at gunpoint in Spanaway and only takes the master key. It happened Monday, just before noon. Deputies say the man got away in a Kia, but was eventually located by Lakewood police, and after a short pursuit was taken into custody. The man was arrested for eluding law enforcement and possession of a stolen vehicle, and more charges are expected. Some concessions workers at Climate Pledge Arena will get some back pay. The City of Seattle's Office of Labor Standards says Seattle concessions will have to pay a total of more than $350,000 to 685 employees for alleged violations of wage theft, secure scheduling, and paid sick and safe time ordinances. City says the company did not provide all required breaks for employees or pay workers for employer-initiated schedule changes. In addition to the back pay, Seattle concessions will have to pay more than $1,000 in fines. Tesla sales fell 13% in the first quarter. More details from Jeff Gilbert.
Tesla sold 337,000 vehicles in the first quarter. That's down 13% from the same period last year. CEO Elon Musk has become a lightning rod, but there are other issues at work. That includes an aging lineup and a lot of new competitors.
It's 8:39. Sully, what's your traffic hotspot?
Broken record time. It's still southbound I-5 trying to get into and through Marysville, so we'll talk about it again coming up next.
It's 8:40 on Seattle's Morning News.
Jake and Spike, noon to 3.
So the West Seattle Link Light Rail extension, they are $3 billion short right now, budget-wise, and they haven't laid down a single inch of track.
It was a risky idea when you pitched it 3 years ago. Now that it's gone to, $6 billion now? It's going to be 10 by the time it gets done?
You're starting to sound like a conservative, my friend.
Common sense. It just grabs you and drags you into the common sense.
Hits you like a light rail train.
Oh.
Streaming live on the KIRO Newsradio app.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. The process was simple and easy. I scheduled my free consultation and discovered I was at the early stage of cataracts and a perfect candidate for RLE. They restored clarity and brightness to my vision like when I was in my 20s, and I'll never need readers again and never develop cataracts. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens are taking RLE surgery to the next level. Call them now at 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com, official eye care provider of Sounders FC.
Charlie Harger here. When your hot turns to cold, you better think fast. Fast water heater. Call 1-800-THINK-FAST. That's 1-800-THINK-FAST or fastwaterheater.com.
You better think fast. Fast water heater.
Save on a 2-night getaway to beautiful Victoria, BC with the FRS Clipper Spring Sale. Travel car-free on the Clipper Fast Ferry and stay at a charming downtown hotel. From $252 per person, double occupancy. Save during Clipper Spring Sale at frsclipper.com.
Hi, this is Keith Dashafee, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Are you ready to enhance your home with stunning, energy-efficient windows and doors? At Pella, we offer top-quality products with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. And right now, we're offering an amazing deal. Enjoy 12 months with no interest and no payments, or get 40% off qualifying installs. My team is dedicated to helping you every step of the way. Visit PellaPNW.com to schedule your free appointment today. That's PellaPNW.com.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works, and you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
843 to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk with Sully.
And we continue to struggle coming down out of Snohomish County, and we've added a new crash to the mix, and I'll get to that one in a moment, because we're still dealing with this 40-minute drive from Arlington into Everett. It just is not giving up from well before the Outlet Mall all the way down to 529, where we had a crash in the 6 o'clock hour, if you can believe it. And it's just kind of set us behind along with all the volume we've had today. So still 25 minutes behind schedule. Once you get through that, though, it's going to be a pretty clean drive until you get down to about the Mill Creek interchange, and then it's really going to bog down. Hour and 15-minute drive from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue, so about 10 extra minutes for either one of those corridors. Looks like we have cleared the crash on southbound Highway 9 right at the Snohomish River Bridge. It's over on the right shoulder, so we're no longer having to alternate traffic. And our new crash is right into Monroe on eastbound Highway 2, right there before you get to 522. We're backed up about 3.5 miles out of Snohomish, so it's been a morning to forget coming down out of the Snohomish County area. Olympia to Tacoma, though, much different story. 35 minutes there, and the drive up from Federal Way to Seattle's not bad until you get up to about the middle of Boeing Field. So all in all, about an hour drive from Federal Way to Seattle, with about 40 of those minutes from South Center. Northbound 405 still struggling through the S-curves and at the north end, about a 50-minute trip now from Renton to Bellevue. But behind that, the Valley Freeway's cleared out really nicely and pretty quickly, actually. We're looking at 43 minutes to go the entire length there. Now to the Lake Bridges. Didn't forget about you guys. We've got heavy slowing eastbound across Mercer Island on I-90. That's just tying into 405. And westbound, it's heavy with volume across. You're going to need about 25 minutes on both 90 and 520 to go from Bellevue to Seattle. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Occasional showers today, a high in the low 50s. We warm up tomorrow, upper 50s, partly sunny, more sun on Friday and Saturday, upper 60s to low 70s. Right now, it's 43 at 8:45. And over to the news desk we go with KIRO News Radio morning editor Katrina Gashard.
Hey, Charlie. Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg continues to testify before the Senate Commerce Committee. The hearing comes as Boeing has faced several manufacturing and safety issues. Ortberg says he is committed to safety and changing the culture at the company.
Next week, I'll be in Everett, Washington with our wide-body team, talking to union members about the difficulties that they're having in manufacturing the aircraft and what we need to do to help them be successful.
Boeing has been subject to additional safety audits and enhanced FAA oversight. A 22-year-old woman from Maple Valley has advanced the next round of NBC's The Voice. Lucia Flores-Wiseman performed Benson Boone's Slow It Down on Monday night.
So slow it down, take 'em rolling now. We're too young to drown.
Flores-Wiseman will compete in the playoffs next week.
It would help if I turned on my microphone, Katrina.
I hear you now. We all hear you, Charlie.
I'm very loud. It's 8:46 on Seattle's Morning News. Speaking of loud, G. Scott is coming by next. It's 8:46.
A good retirement requires more than just having a retirement nest egg and a good investment strategy. Sadly, most people don't have that kind of a plan. And that's why retirement turns into a nightmare for most retirees. Nightmares of one falling ill and ending up in a nursing home, becoming a burden on loved ones, and losing money to uncovered care costs. All preventable with the right retirement plan. Hi, this is elder law attorney Rajiv Nagaich and founder of LifePoint Law. Let me invite you to resolve to make 2025 the year you create a real plan for retirement. I've helped thousands of people in the Seattle area, and I know I can help you too. Come to one of my retirement planning seminars this month, and I will show you how.
Attend the free seminar in Federal Way on April 5th, Olympia on April 8th, or Bellevue on April 10th. Register at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com. Or call 253-838-3454.
Was drafted in 1999 by the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was just absolutely a dream come true.
Todd's playing in the NBA is unique. His battle with neuropathy is not.
I first started noticing problems a couple years into my NBA career, and I felt like my sock was just balled up right in the arch of my foot, and there'd be areas of burning and tingling, and then there'd be other areas of deadness where there would be no response to touch. We tried everything possible, from surgery to different drugs, to try and take care of some of the symptoms.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, non-drug, pain-free procedures that have helped thousands of neuropathy sufferers find relief.
Now I'm able to spend more time doing the things that I enjoy, being on my feet.
If you experience numbness, shooting, or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Is your roof ready for more spring showers? If your roof springs a leak, Valentine Roofing has you covered with our Leak Stop Guarantee. We'll stop a leak in your old roof for free until the new one is safely installed by our best-in-class craftsmen. But don't wait for a roofing emergency. Schedule your free estimate now before you have the headache of dealing with a leak. With our spring priority scheduling, we can get your roof replacement started within just 3 weeks. For all your roofing needs, call Valentine Roofing at 206 Roofing today to schedule your free estimate.
Seattle's Morning News
with your host, Charlie Harder.
8:49, and joining us from the G and Ursula show, G. Scott. G.
I ain't on camera, Charlie.
I is on the camera. I want you to know that I spoke with...
What is this? Not only you don't have the DEI lighting like we talked about,
yeah,
and I'm not even focused on this, man.
You might want to crouch.
You're wearing green.
You are wearing green.
That.
There he is.
Oh, you there yet?
I mean,
I haven't seen without the lighting. I couldn't tell.
This is a hazard. All right, what we talking about?
I want to play the soundbite for you because I spoke to State Representative Chapalo Street yesterday.
Okay.
He was talking about public safety and also about traffic enforcement.
Mm-hmm. A bill that I've pushed is listening to our law enforcement community and hearing them say that they need more officers and they are being asked to do too many things, which I completely agree with. And so if they are being asked to do too many things, one of my bills around traffic safety just asks them to prioritize the most important traffic stops. So those would be things like drunk driving or dangerous driving, as opposed to doing things like enforcing expired tabs or maybe one broken headlight or taillight.
So his argument is let's focus on the big things and people wouldn't be chased after for the smaller things. What are your thoughts?
Write this down. How you do anything is how you do everything. The last time I was rear-ended, did that person have insurance? Nope. The last time my wife was rear-ended, did that person have insurance? Nope. Usually, if you don't take care of the small things, they become big things. Like, for an example, you wouldn't wait to find your husband cheating. You would probably have signs in the beginning when they keep having a boys' trip once a month to Las Vegas. Chances are something's happening. I'm sorry. If you have a broken taillight and you have expired tabs, people that are usually have insurance, people that are taking care of things, and by the way, I know there's somebody says, well, gee, what about the people that can't afford it? I used to be one of those people that could not afford it. However, I also was one of those people that sometimes would go and do other things, right, instead of taking care of those things. What would motivate somebody to get their tabs anyways if they're not going to get pulled over for it? Right? You start slipping on that. Oh, I don't worry about my tabs. Oh, I don't worry about my insurance premium. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. So I understand the part where it does have an impact on low income in here. I do understand how a traffic ticket can sometimes derail what's going on in your life. $100 or $200 expense can really hurt you, Charlie. I totally get that and understand that. But at the same time, right? We don't want to just start saying, hey, you're not getting pulled over for the expired tabs. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of this. When you start just allowing those little things to happen, the big things add up. And I hope you aren't the person that's in that car accident and the person has no insurance.
Representative Street, I think his argument is this disproportionately affects people of lower income and people of color. What are your thoughts?
The person that hit me in my car was a person of color with no insurance. Now, the person that hit my wife, that was looked like you, Sully. But anyways, that was your delegation. But
well, clean cut dude.
Well, ish. When it comes to this, Charlie, and I understand that part of it, and I just want you to know, and everyone listening right now, if this were 3-4 years ago, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I would probably be arguing just that, because I do have a heart for those that are living paycheck to paycheck that are struggling. But at the same time, after continuously talking about this constantly, all the time, there has to be a line in the sand somewhere. And most people, even it doesn't matter about your income, it doesn't matter if you're living paycheck to paycheck, most people will say, yeah, there does need to be some kind of penalty for just not getting your tabs, right? Like, have you ever just walked down the street and you see somebody that their tabs have been expired for 3 years?
Yes.
Think about that for a second. A person, and if you're listening right now, text in. If you're somebody right now that hasn't gotten your tabs renewed in 3 years, I can guarantee you this. There's something else in your life that has not been renewed either. How you do anything is how you might do everything, Charlie.
G. Scott, 9 to noon on the G and Ursula show, straight ahead here on KIRO News Radio. 8:54 to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk now with Sully.
I'm thinking we might be at the high tide mark for our travel times, because I'm starting to see them come down across the board. They're coming back down a little bit closer to normal. We still have about a 20-minute delay on southbound I-5 trying to get into and through Marysville, but we've picked up 5 minutes in just the last little bit, so that's good. We've also picked up about 5 or 6 minutes on both southbound 5 and 405 as we work our way down from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. Still about an hour and 10 for either one of those drives, but that's pretty good. We're also down to about an hour or maybe just under from Federal Way to Seattle, so we're looking at about 40 minutes out of South Center, so that's an improvement. Still have the slowing on 99 into South Park because of a long-term crash right there before the First Avenue South Bridge. 40 minutes from Renton to Bellevue behind